Hey everybody, before we start this episode of the MinnMax Show podcast, I wanted to jump in and tell you about Fixture Gaming and the Fixture S1. It is a very handy clip that they create to actually clip onto the Nintendo Switch Pro controller so that you can game very comfortably on the go. Because what are you going to do? You can use those Joy-Cons on the side. It's not comfortable. But if you have the most comfortable Switch controller ready to go, it's perfect. All you do is you clip this on, slide the screen in on top of that. It's perfectly weighted, perfectly balanced. It's adjustable. Please check it out. And you can use the promo code MinnMax, all one word, of course, and two N's, of course, on Fixture Gaming's official site for $5 off there. And if you go to Amazon or Fixture Gaming's full site, you can get the full bundle, which includes the Fixture Gaming carrying case, which, let me show this off. Hang on. Good zipper sounds. Crack this sucker open. It's got a slot in there for the Switch Pro controller, so you can store that along with the Switch itself, the screen, and it's got a bunch of places for you to store your actual Switch cartridges. And because Fixture Gaming is so generous, they're giving away a Fixture S1 to somebody watching or listening to this right now. So if you share this episode of the MinnMax Show podcast on Twitter and use the hashtag GamesFriendsGettingBetter, all one word, we're gonna randomize it and ship it out to some lucky winner within the next week, and they get the custom MinnMax Fixture S1. Thanks so much to Fixture Gaming, and on with the show. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the MinnMax Show, a place about games, friends, and getting better. My name is Ben Hanson. I'm joined by Leo Vader.
Wow, thank you.
I'm joined by Suriel Vasquez.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Dan Reichert, special guest.
That's me. I'm in Minnesota. How are you guys?
What do you mean you're in Minnesota? We're doing this over Discord like we always do, right,
I
fellas?
love this layout. This is the most seamless layout you've done on Discord yet.
This is the first in-studio podcast recording we've done at MinnMax since, I checked the date, March 12th, 2020.
That sounds about right.
And that seems like we're really probably pushing it. It seems like early March was that moment of like, all right, stop being a jerk, everybody. Seriously, you need to figure out another way to do this.
I feel like it was a little later that everything was like straight up shutting down. I remember I was supposed to go to Detroit for a work conference, and I was like going to the airport, and then it was like, no, go to Orlando. I was like, oh, okay. All right, so yes.
Oh my God. But thank you for watching this. Thank you for listening to this. Hopefully we don't sound radically different. We're always up for suggestions on how to improve the set, how to improve the audio, but we should mention...
Impossible.
Yeah, this is not the new standard. We still have people working remote at MinnMax, and so a majority of our podcasts are still going to be through Discord. Hopefully it's not a deal breaker buzz killer for you. Hopefully it's just,
A boner groaner?
That's right. Hopefully, though, every once in a while we can get together in person for a nice in-person recording of the podcast or other bonus stuff. So thank you for your support, for letting us build out this new studio, and for Dan Reichert for being here in person.
I just was at an airport like an hour and a half ago. Now I'm sitting here at a table talking to you.
How are the
folks.
flights these days? What's going on?
It was bonkers at the airport today in New Jersey. And because I think everyone has pre-check now. So it's like the pre-check line takes longer than the normal one because you can do the thing. But do you guys have the $85 pre-check thing?
No, I have a moral issue with it.
With the pre-check thing?
Yes.
What's the moral issue?
It's ridiculous. The security is already fake and completely imaginary.
Yeah.
And then to say, actually pay us more money to not have to participate in
Make
it.
it objectively better
to make
for
it
you?
clear that this is all a sham.
Right.
It makes it better for me and worse for the
Well,
world.
they bring you into a place and they ask you some questions like, hey, you're not going to blow up a plane, are you? And you're like, no. And they're like, okay, here you go. So there is like a security screening and stuff.
And they say, really?
Yeah,
Everyone
no,
will
I'm
blow up a
definitely
plane
not. I have
sometime.
no intentions of doing that. Yeah.
What if the plane really made you mad? If we change your mind? What do we got to do?
It's $85 for 5 fucking years, and you can totally just never have to deal with that. Take your shoes off or any of that stuff.
Okay.
You'd be a fool not to.
All right. And outside of that, though, like it felt normal-ish? Or everybody's masked in the airports?
You have to, yeah. The airport and the plane itself, for sure. Like it's weird stuff where it's like there's no cash transactions. So if you want to buy something, it's all got to be on like the United app or whatever. So there's all sorts of little differences and stuff. But the times I've flown lately have been normal outside of the masks and the payment stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do they feel about as crowded as they used to be, or are they still...
Oh, yeah, they're totally crowded planes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not here to talk about planes on this episode of the podcast.
Sure.
We're talking about some new games, some old games, and generally the idea here is let's talk about our favorite franchises, specifically how to fix them, which sounds very high and mighty. Leo, can you come up with the best way to message this? Because I would never claim to know more than any game developer, anywhere, ever. But these are...
Publicly, you wouldn't. Privately.
Okay, buddy, all right.
Yeah.
But these are backseat driving. This is just, if we had to throw out suggestions, this is what we do in the most humble way we can imagine.
I was thinking of it as revitalizing in the lead up to this, because it's not like any franchise has really crashed and burned. It's like some of them need a bit more juice.
That's right. So we're going to go around the table and share our picks for how to kind of juice up these franchises.
We're going to base our favorite franchises.
That's right. And then we're going to be talking about Pokemon Unite. Let's see, Suriel.
Speaking of based.
Yeah, no kidding. Did you get that joke, Dan?
No.
Great. We're also going to be talking about Neo, The World Ends With You a little bit, which I thought, that's kind of like a good Suriel game. Then I remember, Dan, you liked that old Neo game, the World Ends With You game on DS?
Wait. Neo, Nioh?
So the new one is called Neo, The World Ends With
I
You.
like The World Ends With You on DS.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. We'll be talking about the sequel to that with Suriel here. Did you know that this existed?
No.
Okay,
There's
great.
a sequel to that game?
It's available now.
I got the Switch remake of it. I played some of that.
Okay, well, this is a whole different thing.
Is it the same genre and developers and everything?
I don't know if it's the same developer, but it's like it is a sequel to that game.
It's on Switch?
Yeah.
Did they not advertise this or?
It's like
It
weird...
was a pretty kind of short time between announcement and release.
Okay.
I think it was announced earlier this year even.
Wow, okay. Well, I'm curious.
Well, let's talk about it right now. I mean, so it is a full-blown sequel, because I've always been curious about the DS game. I played a little bit of it, and then I asked you if I should get into this one, Suriel, and you said, you'd have no shot if you didn't play that original game.
You kind of do have to play that first one to really enjoy this one. I think you could play it, it's Final Fantasy-ish in that it is like here's a new cast of characters. We're playing the Reaper's game again, which is like this thing where if when people die in Tokyo for like whatever mysterious reason, they're transplanted into this afterlife version of Shibuya.
And this is in the original one too?
Yeah, this is in the original
Okay.
one. So you die and you go into the underground version of Shibuya, which is like you're basically a ghost. You walk around and people, you can't communicate with people unless they're like part of the game. And so you do these little every day. You have like a mission where you have to go to the specific thing or do some sort of puzzly thing, and then you have to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes or whatever. And so they kind of reset the entire thing. Like, so they talk about characters from that original game.
Yeah.
And there's like one of your party members is someone from that original game.
Okay.
So you're kind of just doing that again. And I'm still pretty early on. Like the game is broken up into individual days. So you'll okay, head to this spot for today. And then that'll be the task. And then you do the thing. And then they're like, okay, here's your progress on how you're doing in the game, and then you go to the next day.
And so, okay, just for zooming out a little bit, this is the JRPG from Tetsuya Nomura, kind of like his little passion project
he's like
on
a
the DS.
producer. Yeah, and I think someone else is directing it. But yeah, so the original game was one of the most DS games in that it the combat system was based around it using both screens at once. You had a partner on the top screen, and then you were playing on the bottom screen, and the bottom screen was all like you were doing these motions to do you equipped different pins, and those were your attacks. And
That's what I'm trying to figure out with Dan, because you're not a big JRPG guy. So we're just looking for good DS gimmick games.
Oh, well, that's the thing is early in the DS, and I wouldn't call this an early DS game. This was kind of like mid to late even.
Yeah.
I appreciate anything that did the touchscreen gimmick well, and that was few and far between, especially the beginning where it's like, I don't know, Mario 64, you can put on the stupid thumb thing and move around that way. Like there's a lot of gimmicky stuff there. But this one pulled it off really well because I felt like I was doing these things concurrently, but it wasn't overwhelming. And was it all touch on the bottom? Like you'd be swiping down there, but then moving the character on the top. It's been a long time since I played the original.
Basically you would do if you want to do fire, you have to tap on an enemy and then that ignites them or whatever. Right. Or if you want to do a sword slash, you would swipe. And on the top screen, you were kind of doing these DDR-esque, okay, up, down, left, and then you were moving across these little winding paths to produce different effects or whatever. And so you were basically looking at two screens at once and trying to figure out, okay, what should I do? And so that was really hard to replicate in the Switch version. So they just kind of cut out the top portion. which is, I guess, what you kind of had to do. But it like one of the themes of that game is like Neku, the main character in that game, was like really reclusive. He didn't like other people, and so like the entire game is about encouraging him to like be vulnerable, reach out to other people, and kind of expand his world. And this game they try to replicate a lot of that, and I think they do a decent enough job for like not being on the DS, where so you basically equip one pin per party member. And so they all have different inputs. So it's like, okay, your sword/1 is on X, and that is one character. That is one character's attack, like in a Devil May Cry game.
Yeah.
And then like L is another character, right? Is another pin assigned to a character. And so like that's how you're sort of managing your party members. So like if you're doing one attack, you're moving in. Like they control movement and attacks at the same time, which is weird. But what you're doing is you're setting up these combos. So like one pin, for example, you have to hold the button down to charge up like a rock or whatever. And then the other attack is attacking quickly. And so you're chaining these combos together of like, I'm mashing X to like sword slash this guy. And then meanwhile, I'm also holding down the L button to drop this rock on them.
So they're trying to replicate the old style.
The kind of like you're managing multiple characters at once thing. And I think they pull it off. And I think it works well enough. Is it fun? I think the combat, like I enjoy it. I'm not they haven't really done anything interesting in terms of what you're actually doing outside of it. Like it just feels like, okay, we figured out how to make this combat system interesting, but they're not really iterating on that system so far. And I'm still kind of early in the game, but it feels like, okay, I figure out how to actually manage all these characters, and the game hasn't really figured out a way to like twist it or like make it interesting beyond that. Right. Dan, is there any universe? This game is available on Switch and hot PlayStation 4 release. Do you think there's any world where you're going to check these out? No. Yeah. Not out of like, I'm sure it's fine. I enjoyed the first one, but when I was playing the first one and I was like reviewing everything that came out, I had a lot more time. And now it's like I have to be way more economical with like what I'm spending my time with. And I don't know, I tend to like playing a lot of like retro games. I spend a lot of time with that. So like newer stuff outside of like this year, I played Ratchet. What did I get? Chivalry. I played a little bit of that. Yeah. So there've been a few. Like I always I learn about games that come out through my Discord. And because they know what kind of games I'm going to like. So I kind of just trust them to tell me like, hey, you should check this out. Right. Because since I don't really know, I was actually on the way out here with Bianca. We were trying to think of like what games this year we were excited about. And I was like, I know there's WarioWare coming out, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what else is coming out this year. May interest you in Age of Empires 4, good sir? No. All right. See no way out. But then we looked up the release schedule. Like Metroid, there was some big one coming out in like November or something. Oh, Horizon. Maybe. Does that not have a date? They said we're sure as hell trying to get out in 2021. That was the last messaging officially. I feel like that would be the big AAA one I'm looking forward to this year. Yeah. But that's all to say. It's like I'm pretty selective about what I play these days just for sheer time purposes. Right. I've got spread out a lot of different things right now. Which, Leo, I saw your head explode a little bit when you mentioned Chivalry. It's a goofy ass fun game. Yes, it is. Very stupid in a good way. For sure. Yeah, I've just been playing that the last week or two, and the combat is just so fun. The large scale of it, and like picking your fights, dipping in to a fight that is not yours, that other people are in the middle of, and just bonking the enemy on the top of the head with a giant axe. A hilarious coward is how I like to play that, where it's just like I'll see other people like really like parrying and doing stuff, and I'm just like, what if I just got around here and just got in there? It was the moment I realized I love that game is you can throw like anything. You can throw like baguettes and stuff, and there's like a scream button. But there was a point where there were a bunch of like bodies hanging because like all the like wrapping of the game looks like serious medieval stuff. It's just like medieval warfare. I thought it was like very simmy. Yeah. No, it's not at all. It's very arcadey, and that like I saw these bodies hanging, and there's a huge fight going on underneath it, and I threw my sword at the body, and it fell, and I got like a kill that way, and I was like, oh, okay, this is incredible. So is it like round based, or like what is the kind of? It's kind of cool the way they structure stuff, where like some of them are like, those like old Call of Duty modes, the like war modes where it's like there'd be 5 flags and you got to kind of push and pull until you've got all of them.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of like that, but like it'll have almost like story stuff where it's like you're sieging a castle, and so the first part is like the other team is villagers with like rakes and stuff, and you can like kill them super easily. But then it's like, okay, well now you have to like get ladders up on the walls and like breach the walls of the castle, and once you're in there, it's actual like soldiers and stuff that you're fighting. So it's like each phase feels very different.
Yeah, and what's fun about playing it more and more is realizing like, oh, I've never won on this point before. Like I've never successfully defended the town square here. I've never successfully raided this wall or whatever. And it's like, it's surprisingly well balanced that way, where every point is winnable or losable.
Yeah.
In these scale of these huge wars. But I will say, the per capita, per player by player, worst community in gaming.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I always have everything turned off, so I can't see any of that. So is it terrible?
Before I turn chat off, yeah, I would say for sure. Especially because it's, not the hugest player base. It's like the people who really love the game have stuck with it, and they're racist.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've played a single round with any voice chat or text chat on. So
It's called Chivalry. Be a gentleman. What's hard to understand?
Right. What drew you to this?
But it has like a little bit of that, like, I don't know, Hitman style surprises of just physics in weird ways and kind of this experimentation.
And weird role playing, like flourishing your sword, spinning it around as you approach somebody. Or like, my cat brought up the console somehow. I was like, what button is that? And I press all the buttons on the F string on the top of my keyboard. And one of them is just like, you stab yourself with a sword and die. Which the idea of doing that like in a moment when you do something embarrassing or whatever is hilarious.
And this is just PC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Epic Game Store even.
Oh, exclusive. That's right.
Is there not a PlayStation version of it?
Oh, isn't there?
I could be totally wrong.
Okay. But Chivalry 2 is the name of that thing. It came out earlier this year. A couple of months back, but it's nice. How do you get into these games, Leo? How does it come up?
Well, I have a, Epic Game Store account where they add free games to it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of in the mood for Mordhau, which I liked, but I have this game and it's newer and I have it already. Yeah. So let's try it.
Perfect. Leo, when you're not playing Chivalry though, and you're just like sitting on your couch staring and thinking like, God, if only I could fix this franchise. Just what are the key ingredients for fixing this thing? What game is dancing above your head like a little sugar plum?
It's all my favorite Assassin's Creed characters, personally. Yeah, I don't hate the new Assassin's Creeds by any metric, but I don't stick with them the way I stuck with the old ones. And I feel like it's gone away from what was most special about the franchise to me.
Yeah, what is your trajectory? Like, you liked all of the early ones? Or like, what was the peak Assassin's Creed in your mind?
I don't mean to just be a contrarian, but Unity. I thought Unity was the most interesting.
Really?
Once they fixed the bugs and everything, the sheer range of weapons and classes, I played that game as a rifleman. Like a sniper with a gun was the type of assassin I was. And it was an absolute blast. Plus that city with just the modeled interiors that still no open world games even try to do, even though it's the best thing in games, is when an open world game has an interior you can go in and go out.
Yeah. To the point that, I mean, they had the Notre Dame Cathedral in there, right? And then when it burned down, Ubisoft was like, oh, we got to back up. Don't worry about it.
Right.
We can rebuild it with our specs.
And just little apartments of like, oh, I'm trying to lose this tail I have, so I hop in this window and run through this apartment.
Yeah.
How about the other side?
Crash at their place.
Yeah, right.
Watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Cool if I chill here.
Hey, Leo, would you mind stop banging on the table? I understand you're very excited about Assassin's Creed, but I forgot that you can totally hear that.
Yeah, I'm out of practice.
Yeah. Okay, so what do? You turn Assassin's Creed Infinity back into Assassin's Creed Unity, and that's how you fix the franchise, for Christ's sake?
Assassin's Creed Sniper.
Ooh.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They've been going really old because they can say it's our biggest map ever because look at all the grass we have. You can run on so much grass in this one, guys. I think they need to go, this is our smallest map ever.
Ooh, diabolical.
But every building is enterable. My ideal scenario for this would be like Nick era, KNICK, 19th century New York City. Smaller, contained downtown area, but again, more interiors and more stuff to do there. Smaller, more focused world, no horses.
What does that word, like, I've only heard it in context of the New York Knicks. What is...
Yeah, I know that's an actual
Yeah, I didn't either.
Nick is a TV show that's really good. That's
SNCC, SNCC was Saturday night, Nickelodeon. But
right.
What is Nick?
Nick at Snite. The Nick was, the pioneering hospital that was fictionalized in the show The Nick, starring Clive Owen, that you should watch if you like vomiting.
Can I ask, not to detract
please,
from the conversation, Leo, as someone who watches your YouTube videos a lot, how much TV do you watch? Because between the Prestige TV intro thing and the recent one with the time loop and stuff, are you cherry picking stuff, to fit the topic, or do you just watch every show and hence know, like, oh, okay, that's the time loop one of the Angry Beavers or whatever?
I'm mostly cherry picking.
Okay.
And going off of a TVTropes.com list of Groundhog Day episodes.
Okay, but like the
Then
Prestige
watching those.
opening, did you just like look up a list of all the current like ones and watch, here's True Detective, here's...
Yeah, I just watched a ton of openings. I didn't end up watching most of those shows,
All right.
probably.
It still seems like a lot.
It was, yeah, for sure. It's a lot of research.
Yeah, okay.
This is for Leo's personal YouTube channel, where it seems like it's interesting. Your forte has become TV criticism, which I never would have imagined when that channel started, that like that's going to be the main emphasis of like that's what people are coming to this channel for, some hot TV takes.
I got them.
Always shows that I've never seen, and I still find it really entertaining to watch this stuff, so yeah.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so that's the pitch. So Assassin's Creed Infinity, if they have like different things they can plug in different areas of like, okay, this month the event is we have a new region over here. You want one of those regions just to be, the selling point is, look how dense this small world is. Come on in. And if you think about bringing a horse, get the hell out of here, buddy.
It better be attached to a wagon carrying goods.
To me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also want, something else I was thinking about is they have that mercenary system, which is somewhat generated these characters with traits that come and find you. And I think that should be less pronounced, less mercenary discovered when you get within 100 feet of them, and more they're sneakily trying to get you as you're milling through the crowds in the city, and you have to be like watching your back all the time and being prepared to dodge them or whatever.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, if you want to be optimistic, there's a world where with Assassin's Creed Infinity they could try some of these smaller experiments, right? Like when we tried to put the silver lining on that whole thing. Dan, did you see that Assassin's Creed Infinity stuff?
No, but this is sounding very familiar. I think Mike might have brought this up on the Fire Escape we just recorded.
Yeah.
I had not heard. Is there a trailer? Is there...
By trailer, you mean Jason Schreier's scoop, but he started recording trailers for it recently.
Oh, yeah. Is it not officially announced?
So he had a story about it, and then Ubisoft said, like, we're rearranging some studios, and we're going to talk about the personnel changes, but we're not going to talk about the actual game itself. But that's what it seems like they're doing, is combining teams within the Assassin's Creed development circle to create a bigger living experience that can change and Fortnite it up as it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. And judging from that squint in your eye, which love at first sight.
I don't think I'm finally on the Assassin's Creed train after this.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the thing.
God, because what was it? It was like 2 you loved.
Well, no, I won't even say loved. I've played all of them, but 2 is the only one I played through to completion. Like every other one, I gave it a shot, and I played maybe 3 to 5 hours of it, and I felt like it never opened up. I felt like the controls were as clunky as ever, and I just wasn't having a good time with any of them, and so I've hated every single one of them except for 2. I pushed through a certain point and was like, all right, I can wrestle with the controls enough to do the cool assassin things, but I just don't think I have any patience to do that ever again.
Were you excited by the switch to the open RPG stuff? Did that do anything for you, or did you just kind of fall into the same malaise anyway?
The switch to
when they were like,
Origins.
for Origins, we're going to make it like an RPG.
I tried that because it's the combat I always felt was really clunky and everything, and it didn't get much better with Origins. Because I tried Origins and Odyssey, and like there's good things about it, but like I just find that art style so drab, and the fidelity is incredible, but everything is just boring realistic, like there's no personality to it. And I just feel getting around and combat and all of those games, and it's gotten better over time with some, is still, it does not appeal to me in any way. Like I remember Valhalla, I was just like, I hate everything about playing this game.
Do you think it's just like a historical setting is maybe not like a huge selling point for you?
No, I'd be totally fine with it. I just think they're so up their own ass with the lore stuff that I've always thought was so stupid, and I just can't get into it. And I was so excited about the first one. I thought the idea of doing this open world cool assassin thing, but also they're teasing this like real world or current day stuff. I was all in on that, and then they sent it to me to review back then, and I was like, I hate this game. The controls are so bad.
You sent it back.
Yes. No, I was just never on board past pre-release, basically.
Yeah. Unlike the Twisted Metal franchise.
Oh, which, yeah. There's
the
but
other
no ups and
franchise
downs
known
to
for
that.
historical
It
accuracy.
stayed up here the whole way, yeah.
But is that the franchise you wanted to fix, Sam?
Well, that's tricky because I reviewed the 2012, I think,
Right.
Not remake, but kind of reboot of the series. And I remember being so excited for that. And remember, they were making a big deal out of that because, like, at the Sony presser, I think that was the, like, one last thing where it's like, we're going to drive an ice cream truck on stage and talk about how Twisted Metal is back. And Twisted Metal 2, one of my favorite games of all time. Still pull it out every once in a while and play some. Twisted Metal Black up there too.
So
first
good.
one, 1, 2, and Black. Those are the ones for me. And then I was so excited for 2012, and as I was playing it, I was just kind of thinking, like, is this an example of is it the genre? Is car combat just kind of a relic of a certain age? Because, like, there was nothing wrong. Like, it controlled fine. The levels were cool. Like, you know,
The controls are more complex than you thought. Like, definitely when I picked it up, it's like, oh, there's like a real learning curve to the controls here. It's different than you'd expect.
And that's kind of the thing is I think they need to if we were to bring Twisted Metal back, I think it needs to be simplified in a way where it's like, remember that reboot had like helicopters and it had these kind of like elaborate multiplayer modes where it's like, oh, you got to drag a clown behind your car and feed it to a grinder to like power a nuclear weapon or something like that. It was just like, I could see why it probably felt like over the top and crazy and very Twisted Metal when they were designing it. But in practice, it was just kind of like, this is too complicated for the ice cream truck that shoots missiles game, you know? And so I think they could bring it back in a way that if it was kind of back to basics, just cars, just give us cars. I think you could lean hard into destructible environments. Like, hey, we've got these maps and like, you know, almost like a Battlefield Bad Company type thing where it's like, you've got the big, you know, Eiffel Tower moments and things like that where you're destroying landmarks. But like, imagine like, okay, Battle Royale. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You shoot 100 cars out of a cannon or drop them off a cargo ship or something. Really kind of colorful, customizable, cool cars and stuff like that. And what if it was like one of those weird things where it's like, the map has pockets of like, here's Paris, here's Hollywood, here's New York, all in the same map where it's like,
and it's like Calypso built like this kind of, I don't know, Las Vegas style, small pockets of different areas.
Exactly, but it's like the full size, like all these landmarks and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to drop in on Paris or I'm going to go in over here and like.
So it's like The Crew 2, but with more combat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think there's something there. Like the obvious joke these days is like, oh, turn it into a battle royale. But like, I kind of think
It is a battle royale. Like, that is the entire premise.
Do Twisted Metal Battle Royale. Do like Rocket League type stuff where you can unlock a ton of stuff to put on your car, so it's not just like every Sweet Tooth is the same or whatever. Like, get to customize your own thing. Pick up weapons across the map. You know, get your power weapons and your homings and napalm.
Repair
get some
stuff. Fix stuff on your car.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then okay, you want to bring forth like the customization. So then, where are like the classic characters coming in? Do you start as like Yellow Jacket and then build out and modify from that base?
I would think maybe, like have the classic characters. Here's Spectre, here's Thumper, here's all this stuff. But then like each car has kind of bespoke customizable things to it. So it's not like, oh, you're getting the same rims or the same clown head that you can put on any car. I like the idea of like, okay, so for Thumper, here are these 50 customizable things you can unlock that are all kind of like true to the character and everything, you know?
Now, how does it work lore-wise when they have, you know, is it brothers in Hammerhead? Is it a couple guys in Hammerhead? I'm trying to remember.
It was the two stoner guys in Hammerhead in the second one,
Okay.
Might have been a grandma in the first one, I can't remember.
So is it some sort of cloning machine, or how do you account for so many Hammerhead brothers on that map at the same time?
Otherwise this whole thing is going to fail.
Yeah, you need the lore.
Maybe your character is like a customizable avatar. Okay. So you are you, and it slots you into Yellow Jacket or Crimson Fury
into
or
their
whatever.
vehicle?
Yeah. And now what happens when you win? Because there's going to be people, because this game is blown up. There's people winning every second of every day. You got to get the wish, right? And so...
Yeah, anything on the PSN store. You pick one. Just go ahead.
Is there something... That is a fun idea.
Cap it at like... Well, if they had like tournaments or something where it's like, hey, every week we're going to do a tournament. And like first place gets to pick, $300 worth of stuff for PSN.
Or if the wish was just like, you guaranteed this cosmetic instead of having to get it in a box or whatever.
Choose your cosmetic.
You bookmark like one cosmetic on the store that is your wish, and then you get it if you win.
Yeah. I think Dave Calypso coming out and be like, you can have anything in the world. I mean, I'd imagine what you want most is one more cosmetic.
Or like a Patapon wallpaper?
You know me so well, buddy.
It's all
I mean, I wonder if they're going to try and lean into it again, because they have, in theory, that Twisted Metal TV show that's in production.
Oh,
Did you know this, Dan?
was this a while ago?
Maybe like they announced it maybe like a year and a half ago or
It's
something.
a video game TV show. As with movies, I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, but what if
Okay.
I told you it has some writers from Deadpool working on it?
Well, never mind.
All right. What if I told you that, quote, according to Variety, quote, it's about a motor-mouthed outsider who is offered a chance at a better life, but only if he can successfully deliver a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
That doesn't scream Twisted Metal.
I know, it's like, just make it the tournament.
I don't think.
No, but it's got to plug into like the prestige TV model. It can't just be like a weird premise of a show. It has to have some undercurrent of like drama.
And the main character is going to care for a little girl or boy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can see that totally. Riding shotgun, a foul-mouthed little girl or boy, no doubt about it.
Named Sweet Tooth.
With the help of a trigger-happy car thief, he'll face savage marauders driving vehicles of destruction and other dangers of the open road, including, my God, a deranged clown named... This sentence doesn't make sense. Named who drives an all too familiar ice cream truck.
Needles Kane is the name.
That's right. Whom fans of the game will know as Sweet Tooth.
I don't think there's a single video game to TV or movie announcement that could legitimately excite me. Just because the history of them.
If Waluigi was getting an HBO show.
I mean, okay, well that sounds. I'd be so curious as to what the hell
Starts
that
with
looks
him in
like.
therapy.
Yeah, all right. I'd be curious there. Just because like we've only seen him in like 4 cutscenes in his like 20-year history, and so there's so much mystery still around this character.
Yeah.
But he's in the Sopranos prequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's actually, I don't know if you checked out that trailer, but it's a pretty sick scene that he's in.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
The Saints of Newark.
Discord can't cut these out, baby! Let him hear ya! Yeah, this is too easy, but, if they had to find a developer for a new Twisted Metal, it seems like the team that made Destruction All-Stars, that game was okay.
It was fine.
I mean,
We're saying was. Are we saying it's not successful currently?
I have no idea. That game is okay.
I played it one time. I was like, yeah, all right. There's
Exactly.
some fun
I think that was
ideas
the
here.
world's take.
Yeah. It was very much the like Knockout City mold of like, for a free thing, this was fine for an hour.
Knockout City, I think, is above it, but it's
Do we want to coin this as like that's a high-pitched game of like
Right,
anything you'd say about it?
Something's wrong with these mics. Destruction All-Stars. It's like awesome. Anyways, yeah, those developers, Lucid Games, like, I feel like they could iterate on what they did there, and it'd be the most profitable thing that team could make at this point. If Sony was trying to play it safe, that Twisted Metal Battle Royale, I could see it.
Can you imagine if like who the Burnout guys, Criterion, like what are they doing now? Didn't they like tease something with helicopters 8 years ago and nothing ever happened?
Jesus, are you stuck in the Games Press from 2013? What are you?
Pretty much, yes.
Was that an April Fool's thing for Burnout Paradise?
No, wasn't
No,
there?
yeah, absolutely. It was like, you can fly a wing glider. And
Yeah, there was a trailer, right, where it was like helicopters and cars.
That was
Whoa.
literally E3 2014, Dan.
Did that ever come out?
No, it didn't.
He rests his case.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, and not to be fair, but it's weird that Ubisoft game, that Riders Republic, does look like a weird spiritual successor to that, where it's also just race a bunch of stuff. It kind of looks like
That game
going
looks
back to
great.
like 1 Extreme or 2 Extreme on that
Oh,
weird
really?
stuff. Yo, you gotta check it out. But, so Criterion, God, what are they doing now? They were helping out with Battlefield in a huge way, but like a lot of the leads left and formed Three Fields Entertainment and Alex Warren, those folks. They then made the Dangerous Driving,
Dangerous Golf, and
all
driving.
that stuff,
But then what? Wasn't there another team that made like help with Need for Speed, like Ghost Games or something?
I think
Wasn't
Ghost
there?
Games is done.
Okay, but wasn't that some ex-Burnout people?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so there's
I think
really
they've
no
just been
like
doing a lot of
core
support stuff.
Burnout team still doing.
No.
Get them all together and make a Twisted Metal game.
Everybody
or actually, no,
worked
make a
on it.
Burnout game. And give me other people making a Twisted
I
Metal
don't know if
game.
you can make a game
Our
called
strategy
Burnout
to
right
fix Twisted
now.
Metal, make Burnout. I don't know.
Why can't you make a Burnout game?
I feel like that people treat that word differently nowadays. Different connotations, especially in the games industry.
Oh, work stuff.
Works.
You know,
okay.
Burnout Paradise is now a very different game if you take it from that angle.
That's right.
Suriel, fix a franchise. Fix a franchise.
Mine is actually pretty simple. I want the next Street Fighter game to be free to play because I feel like 5 is already halfway there because like every time you fight, you earn fight money that helps you unlock characters, and so like every other weekend, it feels like Street Fighter 5 has a free-to-play weekend where it's like, oh, you have access to like these characters from this season pass this week, and you can play, and then if you like it, you can if you've already downloaded it, so you may as well pay money for it.
It's feeling like that StarCraft 2 era of like, please just jump in here no matter what.
So and there hasn't been like a huge leap. Like I know there are free-to-play Tekkens. There's like a free-to-play Tekken game and I think a free-to-play Dead or Alive game.
There was a Soul Calibur at one point.
Yeah.
Too.
Really?
So I think but they haven't been like mainline entries. It feels like everyone is kind of dipping their toes to see if like a free-to-play fighting game could work. And I feel like Street Fighter V has kind of set expectations for like, okay, like we have an ecosystem here. There's like a whole in-game shop and everything that is sort of where we make our money. Fighting games have kind of slowly been working their way there where, like the games will be like $5 every week. But like the season pass stuff is where they get you, right?
Right. I mean, other than Killer Instinct, right? Like,
yeah, like that is the model that I kind of want them to follow. But I would want them to go and maybe try what Dota does versus what League does, where instead of having the rotating characters, it's like all of the characters are available for free. But like, they just have a bunch of cosmetic stuff and like every aspect of the game is customizable of like, if you want a different announcer, if you want like the health bars or like every cosmetic part of the game can be altered if you want to pay money, like win quotes, like things like that, like special effects, super animations, whatever. Just like do whatever you can to like sell that stuff, but keep like the game balance and the roster kind of as intact as you can.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about like fixing it. Did Street Fighter V, I remember, had a really disastrous launch. Did it ever bounce back? Did it ever become a thing?
I think it's gotten to the point where it's like the game balance is actually pretty good. There are 42 characters and I think they're adding 5 more over the course. So it's like they've kind of slowly fixed all of those issues, but I think that from a stature standpoint, I think it kind of has taken an overall hit in terms of like, well, people are talking about basically every other franchise.
It seems like, is Tekken 7 like the big one of the last 5 years?
Yeah, it's like Tekken, Smash, and Mortal Kombat, I feel like are maybe like the big 3. And Guilty Gear has like had like its kind of big swing this year. So it feels like Street Fighter V has kind of been quietly successful. And I think if they're gonna, like right now, what they need to do to say like, hey, we're Street Fighter, we are the premier fighting game series, still, like I think that would be like a pretty big swing for them to say like, it is a free to, we are making this shift into like, what feels like a larger playground of free to play games that are, that will eclipse your entire life, right? So I want them to make that swing. I don't know if it would be totally successful. There's totally just the chance that they just completely botch it and they kind of turn it into like a, pay to win situation. But I think if they stick by the tenet of let's make the game balance kind of like, let's make that, keep that pure.
Yeah.
And then make like, if they can do that, then the rest of that game is totally cool to just be like this free to play, like cacophony of like sound effects and just like, in your face, sound effects and garbage, whatever. As long as they can say like, you can play the entire roster of this game for free, and that is the selling point. I think they could do something there. I think there's potential.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like Capcom emphasizing free to play stuff, and even like let's look it up, like that RE-verse, that competitive Resident Evil game that they delayed. Like that's still you get it for free if you get Village, but like that seems like one if they were going to try the free to play model, they would go for that. Dan, this is a weird thing where it's a Resident Evil competitive multiplayer game where you're like, you can play as like Jill and Nemesis and you're like running around shooting each other like in the police station and stuff. It's really
looks
weird.
kind of weird
type thing.
Yeah, and it's like kind of slightly cell shade. Like the look of it is distinctly different from Village, which is why wouldn't you just use that engine to make a kind of a lower res?
Because maybe they want to get it to run on the Switch or something eventually.
That'd be interesting.
But I feel like every time Resident Evil has tried to do some sort of like Operation Raccoon City or something like that, it's just always been no good.
Yeah. In the back of my mind, I convinced myself that at some point I'm going to check out that mode that was in the Resident Evil 2 remake, bundled with it. What was that thing called? Where you're like, it's like the 5v1 thing or 4v1 and the person's like kind of resistance. Yeah. It's like that always seemed kind of cool in theory if you had like a dedicated group and one person's kind of like the DM messing with everybody.
Yeah, I think I saw some people get into that on just through Twitter, but I want to say they're ending support for it.
Yeah.
Some people swear by Outbreak and still find ways to play it.
Right. Yeah. There are those people. But yeah, there was the news a couple days ago, Suriel, I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 has sold 12 million units.
Yeah.
Damn. It blows my mind. So there's still a passionate crowd out there for fighting games, but like Mortal Kombat just seems like it has that kind of wider audience thing on lock at this point.
I feel
it's
like
crazy.
Smash Brothers obviously has that huge like worldwide appeal, and I think Mortal Kombat has just somehow found like this weird niche of like, we like this brand. It just happens to be a fighting game, you know?
That's how I treat Mortal Kombat is like, you know, the original ones, the arcade games, are among my favorite games ever. But like nowadays, it's like I'll load it up, I'll play the story mode, I'll see whatever weird turns that makes and really, really enjoy it for the 5 or 6 hours that takes. And then I don't play, you know, I'm not going to get competitive, you know, in that game. So I really never played. So I never really get to see any of the wacky like DLC characters or RoboCop or anything like that. Cause it's just like, give me the story and then I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's actual like fighting game fans and stuff. It seems like
it's like it's a little bit kind of ostracized from the rest of the community because it's like those games work a very specific way that kind of makes it hard to transition. But that community is always getting more competitive and always growing with every entry. So it's like, it's really cool to see it, like, because I feel like I like Mortal Kombat when I think a lot of people did not, of like those 3D games I still have a fondness for.
Deadly Alliance Deception. Deception's incredible.
Yeah. And so now I feel it's like, okay, well, Mortal Kombat's cool again, so I get to enjoy it. But yeah, like for something like Street Fighter, FNE feels like it is simultaneously really big in that like the things that I hear about Street Fighter now are like, they're in Fortnite, they're in the Power Rangers game.
In the
like,
Power Rangers game.
Yeah.
It still blows my mind.
It's like all these, like they're so like ready to just like do brand crossovers at like a given moment, which is fine. But like, I would love for, you know, for them to be culturally relevant for having a fighting game that people really like.
Or Puzzle Fighter 3.
Is it too much to ask?
I've been playing probably more Puzzle Fighter than almost anything these days.
It is a very good game.
It is, I think, my favorite competitive game at this point.
I was talking to Bianca on the flight over here, just being like, I think Puzzle Fighter might actually be a perfect game. There's literally nothing I would change about Puzzle Fighter.
I like the idea that you are sitting quietly on the plane. I was just like, just out of nowhere. Just,
I have something to talk about, dear.
We play it every day. We got an arcade machine, and like Puzzle Fighter is the go-to. That and Money Puzzle Exchanger has become the
I love Money Puzzle Exchanger.
We were curious if you knew about it.
Money Idol Exchanger?
What's that?
I think it's called like Money Idol Exchanger in Japan or something.
Oh, really? Whatever it is, the money game. Yeah, this is an arcade game where you're converting yen into bigger yen and chaining.
It's on Switch. There's like you can download it on Switch.
Oh,
too.
really?
It came out on PSN a long time ago.
Like a hamster thing or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love that game, but it's the only one I can beat my girlfriend at because our Puzzle Fighter ratio is like 98 to 2%. She annihilates.
Really?
Yeah, I need you to give me some tips and don't let her see.
We will all play a bunch.
Okay,
this
please. But yeah, Money Puzzle Exchanger, I love it a lot and I'm pretty good at it. I don't want to brag, everybody, but come to this house. Gonna get crushed in Money Puzzle Exchanging. But it is a number on your hands because it's so much flicking and it's just like after I play, I literally just have to go like this.
Every single time. We always do it after a Puzzle Fighter. We do one money puzzle and after each one we're just like, oh my God, because it's so fast back and forth. Like, we have the exact same experience.
It's absurd.
It's great though.
Yeah, so you got a MAME cabinet then in your place?
Yeah, it's we use it a lot. It's great.
Did either of you get into the mobile version that came out a couple years ago?
Oh, for Puzzle Fighter?
Yeah.
Like 2 seconds, then it's like, oh wait, doing any puzzle game on a phone, whether it's Dr. Mario or
I don't mind Tetris on my phone. I actually think it works okay.
it.
But this was before I knew that Puzzle Fighter was a gift from God. So I think I downloaded it and I was like, crap, moving on. And now I wish I really would have savored it.
Well, Hanson, we always do when we go to the lake every year. We typically find something to do a score challenge on. Leo and I were killing each other at Robotron one time, which that has become one of my regulars on my cabinet. Oh
God, I don't even want to see your stupid high score.
It's really stupid. So that, but then Galaga is kind of my main one. So every day I try a few Galagas, and I'm trying to like, there's only 5 scores, so like to even like make it on my top 5 now is a huge deal. Same with Robotron. So those are the ones I do solo. Occasional Miss Pac-Man, and then Bianca and I do Puzzle Fighter and Money Puzzle. But like it's also I'll load up NBA Jam or one of the Mortal Kombats. And,
yeah. You found any other hidden gems?
A lot. We favored it a lot. There's a lot of weird old Japanese arcade games for sure. Have you played the Outfoxies?
Yeah, we played that years ago. That's like the weird Smash Brothers.
We found that. I'd have to look at our favorites list because we always, whenever we find something super weird, we'll favorite it. There are so many Japanese arcade games where it's just like from 1994 and it's all about just like drawing a line around to uncover like a blurry JPEG of a boob.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's like 8, that's a whole genre for
which
sure.
Which is we're not here to judge, but like I have our MAME cabinet set up like at our lake place, and we have like family over there a lot, and it goes to like an automatic screensaver where it shuffles through all this stuff. So I'm always self-conscious when there's like a family reunion. There's a bunch of 6-year-old boys around. It's just like rotating through them for a flash. It's just like stupid pixel boob and then moves on like, oh, I hope they didn't see that. It doesn't have a huge impact on their sexuality, please.
There's one, I always forget the name of it. It's called like Dark Edge or something, or Chaos Heat or something or other. It's a Sega game from 1993, and it was really ambitious for what it was doing. It was like a 2.5D. It was sprite-based graphics, but the characters can like rotate around each other, and the perspective's crazy. So like you can be deep in the foreground doing a jumping kick and like switch places, and it's like it kind of works, and it's got a cool look to it. But it was like really trying 3D fighting years before anyone was ready for it.
My love for this year, like last summer was the summer of Puzzle Fighter, all in. And it's a weird one, but this year I've really fallen in love with this game called Pro Gear. It's a Capcom arcade game from like 2001, I think, so pretty late, but it's a shmup. But something about it's bullet hell is all hell, and you're just flying a plane, but the art kind of reminds me of like Mega Man Legends, and just the impact of these shots are so over the top. But if you just like a game where you shoot a bunch of other little planes, but the bullets somehow are satisfying for this thing that you're just doing over and over again. Like, yeah, it's Pro Gear. So it's my favorite shmup, I think.
Hey, have you done much Die Hard Arcade?
Done much. I mean, I haven't dabbled. I don't think so.
Wait, no, that's Dynamite Cop. Dynamite Cop.
Wait, I remember Dynamite Cop. So Die Hard Arcade.
Die Hard Arcade.
I think I did play that one. That was the one where at the end you have to like face off against each other, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't remember. And it's weird because like it's Dynamite Deca is what it was like. Dynamite Deca 2 is Dynamite Cop 2, but Die Hard Arcade is, I forget though, there's a weird breakdown to it, but it's the same engine. It's basically the same game as Dynamite Cop, but you're playing as John McClane with like quick time events and stuff. And that's a good one.
You got any tips for people listening to this that say, I want an arcade cabinet that plays everything?
Well, you got to make sure you have all the boards for the games themselves.
That's right.
And
that's like 3 of your bedrooms are filled with those now?
Oh my God, they're heavy and they take up a lot of space.
So I got a 5-bedroom house. Yeah.
Yes, but the cabinet itself I commissioned. It's at DSM Arcade on Twitter. He builds arcade machines and did a great job with mine.
So you just said, please make me one, and then it just ships it to your house?
Make me the cabinet. He shipped it out. Boy, that was a hassle trying to get it into my house. It literally just called like a random guy that was walking around the neighborhood that had a truck and like, can you drive this expensive thing on the highway? And like he showed up. He was a landscaper and had like a bunch of like it.
Wait, because where was the board at? Like it was in New York?
It was, no. So he shipped it from, I want to say he's in Chicago or Iowa. He's in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And so he shipped it to a like shipping location in Connecticut. And then they don't ship it from that. Like I don't know. I had to find a way to get it from there to my house, which is like a 8-minute highway drive or whatever. And Bianca was taking a walk one day and like met a guy and started talking about the dogs and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, if you ever need landscaping or whatever, here's my card. And so I had to pick this thing up. I had like one day to pick it up, and I was like, we don't know anyone in Connecticut. I was calling around to every like moving service and stuff, and none of them could do it. And then Bianca had the idea of like, why don't we just call that guy that offered to do landscaping? He's probably got a truck with landscaping equipment, and he seemed really nice. And so I called the guy up and I was like, hi, you don't know me, but you met my wife. Would you be able to, you probably have a truck, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, can you meet me at this place and I'll pay you to drive an arcade machine? He's like, yeah, sure.
Did he like arcade games? I feel like that's kind of a silver lining of at the end. He's like, hey,
I think he called it a PlayStation.
Oh no.
He shows up in this truck with like every piece of lawn equipment you could imagine piled up like cartoon high in the back of the pickup truck. And then on the back, he had like a pallet on wheels or something that looked very just kind of rickety and stuff. And I'm very excited about this arcade machine. And so I'm just like watching, it's like, oh God, don't drop it. And he puts it on there, and I could not drive behind him because I was like, I can't watch this thing slide around on the back because I'm going to be freaking out the entire time. So I took a totally different way home, and it arrived just fine. And I mean, it was bubble wrapped to hell and everything. So
and the moral of the story, helpful. Leo, you can always depend on the kindness of strangers if you got the mighty dollar.
And the wife. Happy to do it.
And the wife.
So safe and sound. That's my tip. So call someone with a truck.
And that's how they fix Street Fighter?
That is exactly. Yes.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
I can't watch my favorite franchises be on the back of a pallet.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
I took the Tekken way home.
Yeah, smart. Okay, for me, it's predictable. I feel like it's cliche to be like, this franchise has so much potential. Why aren't they doing something more with it? But the old Pokemon. love Pokemon dearly, and they are obviously tiptoeing in the right direction, going a little bit more open. They have the wild areas in Sword and Shield, and the DLC opened that up even a little bit more. And then
they fixed it by making it a MOBA.
That's right. They finally perfected the Pokemon formula. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. But no, and then a lot of people are hanging a lot of hope onto Pokemon Legends Arceus. Have you seen this, Dan?
Is this the Breath of the Wild thing you were freaking out about?
Yeah. Oh, you saw that video? Or, yes. MinnMax on YouTube, everybody. Run, don't walk. Yeah, so I think people have high hopes that it's going to be Breath of the Wild, but for Pokemon. But like the more I watch that, obviously people are worried about the tech, and that's a huge thing. I'm definitely worried about that. But at the same time, it's like what they're saying is that it's only, I think, going to be one central town with then areas going around. Like, I don't think you're going to have the Pokemon experience of like being a kid, going on an adventure, collecting gym badges and going along the way. It feels like it's enough of an offshoot where it's not exactly what we're looking for, but it's the classic thing we've been screaming for so long of just like, please just give this game a bigger budget and a bigger team, which I know we rail against studios like Ubisoft for putting thousands of people on Assassin's Creed, but it just boggles my mind that the biggest media property in the world, Pokemon, their main flagship games, feels like the budget is middle to lower tier for overall AAA video game budgets.
But I could be wrong, but like, aren't they still selling insane amounts?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes, but still, Dan.
Why would you change it? If you're a business person and you're like, well, we're putting, we're half-assing this and still raking it in,
look,
why would they spend a bunch more?
Assassin's Creed is making a lot of money. Don't you want them to change it up?
I don't really care about Assassin's Creed.
Well, sure. No, I mean, they definitely are selling like gangbusters, but I always just feel like there's so much potential just for so many lapsed Pokemon fans where it's like, man, I want to care about each Pokemon I catch. I want to be excited about trading Pokemon with Ronnie, play the original game with each other 20 years ago, whatever the hell at this point. Like, I think there's a lot of people out there, and I think Pokemon Go proves this, that's like, we're eager for a full, big Pokemon experience instead of just, this one is getting closer and closer to what we expect. So I know this is sacrilegious, and I apologize. I love Game Freak dearly, but I think what you got to do, Suriel, I think you give it to another studio. Just try it. Just try it. And look, this is no slight to Game Freak.
Which studio?
Rockstar.
I think Rockstar. Honestly, is it too much to ask?
Yeah,
Game cool guy.
Someone's satirizing the Pokemon universe.
No, like this frees Game Freak up. They can make Tembo the Badass Elephant 2. They can make Harmonite 2. They can make more Little Town
Drill
Hero.
Dozer.
Yeah.
3, I'm going to guess.
That's right. No, they could get experimental, free them up, get some new talent in there, right? And at the same time, give it to somebody else. But the challenge would be like, who's like an independent open world RPG friendly studio at this point?
Genshin Impact.
The Genshin Impact. I mean, I'd like to see
CD
it.
Projekt Red. They're independent open world RPG, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Are they still cool?
You started off so excited about this idea.
I don't know. They're a little bit tarnished. The best I could come up with was like Avalanche. Maybe like the RPG experience, not in a big way, but I'd like to see what maybe they could do with something like this, or like the Subnautica team I thought of.
I like Subnautica.
Okay, well then you'll love this new Pokemon game. I just think a big shakeup, and I don't think Pokemon Legends Arceus is going to be the formula that people want.
It's a bad name. Pokemon Legends Arceus?
Yeah, it's
That's
the name of the
name.
Pokemon. It's the Pokemon that's like God in that universe.
Okay.
So it's a cool one, I guess.
Well, it's like the idea of like a Breath of the Wild Pokemon, like as a non-Pokemon fan, that's the type of thing. It's like, oh, maybe I'll give this one a shot.
Right, right.
But like, I don't know, to an outsider like me, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a really bad name.
It's off-putting.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know enough about Pokemon to get what this is going to be.
But I don't know. I think people just call it Pokemon Legends. Realistically, it's going to be a different sub-brand and all that stuff. But
I love games that have legends in the title. That's the genre I like.
Rayman?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Apex.
League of. Ironically, they call those characters champions, which is funny.
Legends of Wrestling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Legend of Legaia, singular. Does it count? One legend, but a very good one.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
Legend of Zelda is pretty good.
That one shooter on PS3, I think it was, from like 2007.
Okay.
Legends of Runeterra.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Submit your favorite games with legends in the title.
over at patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's.
For other users to see and nothing else.
And upvote.
That's it. So that's it. The old Pokemon thing. I have my fingers crossed, but I know like from visiting that studio several times, I've been very lucky in talking to that team. Like they want to keep those development teams small for the mainline RPGs. They're like, it gets out of control and too tough to communicate if you have like more than slightly over 100 people. And it's like, well, that's respectable, but come on, what could you guys do if you had like a huge team on this thing?
I think they could do both. Is the thing? Is like the Pokemon franchise feels so big that they could. Okay, Game Freak, if you want to keep the team small and kind of keep it pure, that's cool. But also, it just feels like, on some level, I want to be exploited in this weird way. I want to have just a bunch of Pokemon games always coming out. But Nintendo, and it feels like their proclivities towards like, we're just going to do things our way, I feel like has extended to the Pokemon company in some weird ways.
And especially when it's split in so many different ways for the Pokemon license, it's not like it's the singular vision of Game Freak being like, we want this. It's like, well, Nintendo has to have their say, Creatures has to have their say, like it's divided into thirds for the ownership of Pokemon here, and then the Pokemon company has to have its business say, so it's got to be a mess. But who knows, Dan? I know.
But do you want it to still be you're running around and you get sucked into turn-based battles, or do you want any fundamental changes to the formula that way?
I could see combat like being a little more action focused, even something simple like just having like button presses like Paper Mario or something in the combat, just some way to liven up the combat a little bit.
That's the thing that would like help get me into something, because I keep wanting to try, like I tried X and Moon, I think, but like the combat itself always just to me felt like, okay, he's a water thing, I guess I'll do a grass thing or whatever, and like it never was engaging in any way.
It's interesting, like that super high level play is interesting when you really get down to like numbers and abilities. I mean, really zooming in on all that stuff. But I feel like they could use some way to add a slight action element, and they don't want to because it limits the audience. They want to keep it friendly for kids and stuff. But like these kids are out there on their Apex Legends and other Legends games tearing it up. That Legends of Runeterra action mile a minute.
Yep.
So I feel like they could handle it at this point, the wider audience.
What if you are the trainer, you're a little boy, you walk in, you choose your starter, and then you die, and then you play as your starter, and you're playing as a Pokemon the whole time.
That's
There's three different play styles.
They've done that.
That's Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah, where someone literally dies and becomes a Pokemon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a real twist on the formula.
I want the kid to just die, though.
Okay, yeah. Let's see what we can do.
Body stays there the entire playthrough. You can go back and visit it.
Yeah, and then a little gas leak comes out of his corpse.
Oh, I thought you said gas leak. I was like, okay, I guess.
Well, that's what killed him.
Oh, okay.
Gas leak started the gas
leak. Thank you.
But did you see that news this week that it seems like Variety's reporting that Netflix is making a Pokemon show that's going to be a little bit in that style, where it's going to be live action, but a little bit Detective Pikachu of like CG Pokemon and all that stuff.
No, did Detective Pikachu do well?
Yeah,
Yeah?
it did well.
Do people like it?
Yeah, it didn't crush, the box office, but I think it did surprisingly well. People liked it. I liked it.
I liked it, and I didn't expect to.
Oh, there we go. Good.
I think the response was sure.
Yeah, that seems about right. But for this Netflix show, like, I feel like they're overthinking things way too much. About like, okay, this has to be a twist on the formula. I feel like obviously don't do the Ash storyline. That's been done 1,000 times, but just do some other up and coming young trainer going on adventures. Like, that seems like the way to go. But I know they're going to overthink it and have it be like, this is the story of Nurse Joy, or like some focused things. Like, no, we want adventure. We want that idea of collecting and trading.
Could you pull up that Twisted Metal article and just swap all those terms for Pokemon stuff? Because I think that's what's going to
road trip across
Since the hot thing now is showing like dark origins of like Nurse Ratchet or whatever, it should be like, here's the origins of like Meowth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like why he's a dick. Is Mouthy a dick? I don't know.
He just likes money and hangs out with a bad crowd. It's not his fault.
He seemed like kind of a heel in the Pokemon universe.
I think that's right.
I'm basing this just on Smash Brothers summons.
He doesn't even talk in that. He just shoots coins
That
everywhere.
guy's a dick.
He likes his payday, doesn't he? Come on.
It's not about the smashing, it's about the money for this guy.
I thought he was like the Wario of Pokemon. Is that not the case?
Close enough.
Sure.
Close enough.
But that's kind of like Team Rocket in general, I guess, and he's just a part of it. But that's more the anime. More importantly, Suriel, Pokemon Unite. You said you've been playing it?
Yeah.
Have you seen that MOBA, Dan, on Switch? there's a free Pokemon MOBA on Switch, and it's actually kind of good.
Is it only on Switch?
Yeah. Well, they're going to be putting it on phones eventually. But Leo, have you checked it out at all?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Suriel, you are an expert. You've put 3,600 hours into Dota 2. As an idiot who wants to like MOBAs, like I've played a couple rounds of Pokemon Unite, and it's like, oh, I'm enjoying this. If I had a full team of friends, like
I feel like that is the reaction to this game, is that like a lot of people, it feels like if a really good country album had released and people are like, you know what?
Yes.
On occasion, I might listen to some country.
Yes, exactly. But Waylon Jennings over here, I'm curious what you have to say.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think specifically because it feels like the polar opposite of Dota, in that it is they just feel like they're saying like everything people might not like about MOBAs. Let's peel that back and like basically. Now, I don't want to say it flips the genre on its head or anything, but it just feels like they've found a lot of smart ways to reduce a lot of the kind of friction of getting into a MOBA.
Yeah.
So like all the matches are 10 minutes, which is
beautiful.
And they're lit like they are a strict 10 minutes, in that, you know, every other MOBA is like this match ends when this thing is destroyed. When this objective is complete, that's when the match ends. And that's kind of one of the problems. But in this, it is more of a sport than other MOBAs, in that like you're basically you're killing creeps, but they're other Pokemon.
It's just like Apom, like this poor monkey that you're just slaughtering out there.
We've decided to completely say this character is irrelevant and just make them fodder.
March to his death.
Yeah, basically. And so you kill a bunch of those things, and you get like, I don't remember what they're called, but they're basically Pokeballs if you want to think of it. Like think of them as a currency, and you basically have to go deposit them in your opponent's side of the.
So it's like, it's just basketball. You
This
just
is an
go up
American
and
Gladiators thing where you had to dunk the thing in the
Yeah, now that you mention it,
basically,
it is largely
you are
American
literally like
Gladiators.
when you deposit them, you do literally dunk them. Like
Yeah, it's
All
crazy. It's just Pikachu dunking some
American
Pokeballs.
Gladiators.
Yeah.
I am interested in Pokemon.
So that-
You love MOBAs now, Dan.
Yeah, that's basically the. So like you can play as different Pokemon, and one of the cool things they do is that depending on the Pokemon you play as, you evolve over the course of the match. So you'll start as like a level 1 Machop or something, and then like over the course of the match you become Machamp, right? By leveling up. And so you swap. Like one of the smart things they do, I think, that actually adds some depth, is that your abilities can change on a match-to-match basis. So you kind of spec into a certain build. So it's like, you know,
Hang on, can I say, Leo's busy looking at my washing machine, and I think it's very rude because it's off camera.
You can see us on screen in the washing machine. I
We're
didn't
in
know.
there. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
We can perfectly see me and Dan.
Wait, is that
I
our
wasn't
actual
sure that's
reflection?
you'll
It's in
never
the
get this on
monitor.
Discord.
Or is it?
It's just your
I think it's just a
iPhone.
reflection in the glass of the washing
It's
machine,
so
but
clear.
it's cool.
I love it.
That's
Let the
really
record
awesome.
show, today is the day that Dan and Leo discovered that reflections exist.
This is like when my dog sees his reflection, starts barking at it.
Thank you for bringing this up, so I didn't have to, because I was about to just bring this all to a halt.
Stop the recording!
That's not me.
No, that's the camera. That's like actually capturing you for eternity.
Yeah,
in that
I
case.
see no proof
it's
of that.
slowly sucking out your soul. Yeah, and it's going to watch it.
Yeah, don't look at the comment section for the washing machine reflection though, because it's nasty.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Somehow even more racist than usual.
You know, the point is, Suriel Vasquez.
I like this
MOBAs.
game. It seems just completely drowning in free to play elements, which is very weird. Because like you have like daily login stuff, like you are unlocking characters by logging in every day. There's like I think one of the, if you log in 14 days in a row, they just straight up give you a character. So there's like, you know, daily quests, like win a match or whatever, but there's so many things about like, you know, you can have your Pokemon hold items and those are unlocked by playing, or you can just buy your way into having more advantages. But I wonder if there's just like some top level where it's like, yeah, I've bought everything and now the game can be like competitive and interesting. But right now, as like I'm kind of playing a few matches every day, it does feel like, oh, this other player just had more stuff unlocked, so they're basically more powerful than me.
That's a bad feeling.
But I'm very curious to see how they address that stuff, because I think the fundamental game, I think, is fun, and it's like I like the idea of like I just play one match and that's 10 minutes, or there's like a faster version that runs 5 minutes, I think, or 3 minutes, like very quick matches.
Yeah,
you can get into, and I like it's really cool to have like, you know, here's my build for Machamp, because like what I was saying earlier was that like you can choose between 2 different skills every few levels,
right?
So there are ways where it's like, okay, Gengar is like a high damage speedster is what they call them. So he's very fragile, but you can kind of spec more towards a slightly like support where you're kind of helping your team out versus trying to get like laser focused kills on people. So that can depend on like who you're facing off and how the match is going. And I kind of like that aspect of it.
So it's a little too, in theory, pay to win, but at least like the matches that I've played, I haven't been stomped. Maybe it's just like the user base is so big for a free game that's Pokemon themed on Switch that there's enough babies that haven't bought their way to the top yet or something.
Matchmaking is almost suspiciously too fast, where I think there's a chance that they're just like somehow generating names and pitting you against bots, kind of Fortnite style. Because I've played maybe like 12 matches and I think I've won most of them. Like maybe I've lost one match, and I think it's mostly because I haven't played ranked. I think that's probably where I think you're more likely to run into real people, but I would suspect that there's maybe some trickery going on. But maybe the audience is just that big that it's just like everyone's playing it. It's free to play, so it's just like random Pokemon fans are just looking for something.
So as a MOBA expert, does this feel like the NBA Jam to, I don't know, the
real basketball?
Real basketball.
I mean, I would almost like, that doesn't seem like a totally wild analogy to make. It's just like, this is like a very simplified, very bite-sized version of MOBAs, and I like that it has Pokemon in it. So it's like, it seems to totally work for it. Like, this feels like something that I could keep playing for a while. And if I fall off of it, it's so casual that it's like I can pick it up and put it down whenever. I don't feel like I have to get really good at this game for it to be fun.
Right. I'm surprised by the production values. Like I know it's like a 10-cent joint and stuff, but it's like, okay, they actually put some money into this Pokemon offshoot, which feels like
Pokemon
it's
look really good.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So your prediction is 2 years from now, if I say, hey, I've been playing some Pokemon Unite, will you be like, yeah, of course? Or would you have a moment of like, what? Why?
I could see.
That's the best way to gauge. What I'm trying to say is, do you think it'll be a success?
I think it'll be a success. I think it'll be. I mean, I could see it being like Genshin Impact is now, where it's like you are still seeing stuff about that game, but it's kind of in the background of like, oh yeah, I guess somehow, somewhere along the way, I've been seeing Twitter posts of like, oh yeah, this new Pokemon Unite update released, but I didn't really pay attention to it.
Right. You can check it out, Dan?
No.
Okay, great. Hey, Dan, do you know how this whole thing operates?
A computer?
One computer, and if you go inside the computer, you can find patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. Thanks to everybody who supports us over on Patreon to unlock early access to this podcast and a bunch of other benefits, including the podcast version of The Deepest Dive on Dead Space, which we just kicked off. It's on our YouTube channel, but if you want to unlock the podcast version of it, you can check that out. It's a very, very thorough, fun discussion about the first half of the original Dead Space. But thank you to our bigger supporters like the Hello Hyrule podcast. Hello Hyrule is the premier Legend of Zelda travelogue podcast. In each hour-long episode, we take a deep dive into a new location in the game, starting with Skyward Sword, and discuss the story, characters, and all the tiny details that make up the worlds we've grown to love so much. Whether you're deep in this month's Skyward Sword Remaster or more casually interested in the Zelda stories, this comedic play-along podcast is for you. So grab your sword and your sunscreen because tours are open today here on Hello Hyrule, available wherever you find your podcast. Hello Hyrule also wants to thank everyone in the MinnMax Discord who has been so kind, supportive, and inspiringly creative as well over the past few months. Thank you, Crypto Zookeeper, for supporting us on Patreon and letting us plug your podcast. Congratulations on Hello Hyrule. Also, thanks to our dear friends at I Am 8-Bit. They want everybody to know about the Tell Me Why vinyl soundtrack with quilt-themed cover art with tactile embossing, Leo. Wow. Just imagine running your hands along that vinyl cover. This thing's going to be sweet. The music's by Ryan Lott. The album art is by Theo Randall. And the vinyl soundtrack includes the digital download. And if you go check out I Am 8-Bit's wonderful online store, you can use the promo code BottleRocket, all one word, BottleRocket, for 10% off everything under $100 in I Am 8-Bit's online store. So check that out. And Dan. Yes, Leo. I'm sorry.
I just think it's kind of cool that both our sponsors are like greetings, you know? Hello, Hyrule. I Am 8-Bit, you know?
Like they're talking to each other.
Right. Yeah, it's cool.
That's neat.
Yeah, how's the weather is the next one.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks to How's the Weather? Pretty good. I Am 8-Bit, they're so wonderful. Every single week, they ship out a prize to a member of the MinnMax community. We didn't ask them to do this. They're very generous. Every single week, they ship out a prize, and it's a good prize. This week, it is a physical Switch game. And Dan, we're going to choose our favorite question of the week.
Ooh.
And then that person will win Spinch, the game on Switch. So if you've been craving a physical copy of Spinch, the platformer, the colorful platformer, it's called Spinch.
Keep saying Spinch.
It's a very good word. You can play that on your Switch thanks to I Am 8-Bit. So everybody try and remember each and every question here for community questions. Sound good?
Yes.
First question comes in, Dan.
Yes.
From someone named VRG.
Okay.
Very, very real guest, I like to call him, because they're getting down to it here.
Excellent.
Good gamer question.
I didn't suspect anything, but now I'm starting to suspect.
Yeah, you're being a little cagey about it. I think
about
you're
this first
protesting
question?
Too much.
Yeah.
No, this is just good gamer questions.
All right.
Get ready, Suriel.
Let's skip it.
Hey, okay. Moving on to the next one. King Kate Sith says, "Hello, MinnMax crew and Firescape Dan. Love hearing you all together. Your podcasts are so different, but both are so wonderful to listen to and never fail to brighten my day."
Oh, are they that different? Just
Yeah.
have fun talking about games.
Yeah, that's the core of it. I did see some people have like whiplash, I think, in our Discord of like, I listen to Firescape and my God, do they not censor anything on that podcast or just like bleeping things out? Like, we're a family-friendly podcast
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Which ones do you bleep?
That's a good question. I've run through the gamut. I'll let you know where the line is.
But
Safe. Mostly bleep.
Really?
Yeah, mostly bleep.
As a prefix. Sure.
You could keep going.
That's all he knows.
bottom.
Okay, all right, now we're back to safe. All right, hang on. I write down the time code and then get back to this wonderful question from King Kate Smith.
We can read that first one also, by the way. I feel like that made that person feel bad.
Skip right
Oh, you want to go back? Okay. All right.
I thought he just did it.
Hey, it's our podcast. VRG says, Nintendo has a long history of making both 2D and 3D entries for 3 of its oldest franchises, Mario, Zelda, and Metroid. When at their best, is each franchise better in 2D or 3D?
Love this question.
It's a good vanilla, right down the middle gamer question.
And I am right now playing through all of the 2D NES Mario games. So
Ooh,
I'm
interesting.
very, very fresh. And I 120 starred all of the 3D All-Stars when that came out. So I'm real fresh with the Mario. 2D Mario.
Incorrect.
I might go 2D Mario as well.
What?
World is just like a perfect game. Yoshi's Island's underrated. 3 all-timer.
I think for the joys I get out of that franchise, they're at their highest passing back Super Mario Bros. 3 back and forth.
And that's like not much nostalgia coming from you. And it's also somebody who, I don't want to put words in your mouth and get you lit up on the internet, but not a platformer guy.
No. I mean, I like them, again, in that context of with friends, switching off
Croc.
as a engine. Yeah.
Croc, yeah.
Your Crocs.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
Right. Oh, the Ultimate Legend, we forgot. The Galos
of
itself.
course.
Yeah.
Croc, better in 3D.
I would argue, yeah.
True.
I mean, I'm a sucker. I would go 3D for all these, but I think a lot of that's just because I didn't have those old consoles growing up, and so
That's the thing. And I did like all of my like gaming DNA is from like the first game I ever remember playing is Mario 1, you know? And
Right.
like Mario 3 was like, and World were just like earth-changing games for me, you know? And as much as I love 64, Sunshine Galaxy, Galaxy 2, and Odyssey, I do think 3 and World are kind of like the pinnacle for me.
Metroid's tricky. That seems like it'd be the most slam dunk
2D.
I love
Prime.
Prime
I
was
love
great.
the atmosphere of Prime. Like, Metroid is a franchise, everything out the window. If it was a standalone thing, like, what an amazing setting. Like, what an
Right.
amazing sense of world that those games have.
I'll say I played through all of Prime last summer, I think, and it's really, really cool still. The first half more than the second. There's some real kind of BS backtracking stuff going
Yeah.
on. Oh, God, if you're jumping around that pirate ship when you don't have the water jump thing, it's just the most laborious thing. But Prime 2, I straight up didn't like. Prime 3 was pretty good. Okay. I didn't love it. Whereas, like, Super Metroid, and actually I just played through Zero Mission recently on stream. Fusion. That
Suriel just played Fusion,
Yeah, Metro 2 Return of Samus, the one that kind of flew under the radar recently. Like, I think you got to go 2D with Metroid.
Yeah, I think 2D Metroid's slowly winning me over. But I think that's because I haven't played Prime in a while, so I should probably revisit Prime.
You're a big Other M guy.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Definitely like what they did with the story there,
Yeah.
for sure.
I was watching some of that. Jeff Grubb was streaming some of that the other night, and I watched some,
really?
and I was just like, oh, this looks very, very bad.
I completely forgot that our favorite Federation Force, that was a next level joint, like that studio that now Nintendo owns. It's like that's the Luigi's Mansion 3 team.
Oh, really?
That made that, yeah.
Huh.
And it's like this is why I'm an idiot, because I dabble in a lot of video games, and like I played Federation Forces with a group. Must have been at the Game Informer office for like an hour, and I was like, this is fun. I'm having a good time with this,
I
but
touched it.
really, I think it'd be kind of a funky thing. Did you bring your 3DS on this trip, Dan?
No.
Honestly, though, at some point, if you like are traveling or something together, like just to get a team of 3, I think. Or am I thinking of Triforce
Triforce Heroes.
You're right.
Yeah, but like just to play through Federation Force, I think it'd be kind of fun.
I'd be curious, honestly.
Okay, all right.
Or some Metroid Prime pinball.
I feel like Zelda.
Is that 2D or 3D pinball?
It's 3D. It's polygonal pinball.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like most pinball is polygonal.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
Spherical.
Yeah.
that's true. It's not, is a sphere a polygon?
It's the ultimate polygon.
Millions of them.
Yeah.
Infinite polygons.
Smooth polygons.
King K-Sith writes in and says, yeah, the podcasts are good and different. Thank you. And then he says, but let's talk food. Ben and Dan both have been self-admittedly picky eaters in the past. As a person who grew up incredibly picky, I love that as an adult, I'm a total foodie now. Congratulations. I just love eating new food so much. All right, cool. I'll stop critiquing sentence by sentence. One food I used to vehemently, why is that hard to say? I used to vehemently hate was onion rings. I used to hate onions and by proxy also somehow hated their fried improvement. Now I can't get enough of those suckers. So my question is, what is a good food you used to hate but tried as an adult and discovered, holy cow, I've been wrong my entire life?
Hummus. That's the past year for me. I love hummus now.
The hummus is amazing. It's great. Yeah. Get some pita chips, hummus.
Yeah. Or just like slices of bell pepper or something. It's just amazing that it's good for me for how delicious it is.
Just chickpeas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. That's good. Suriel, I feel like we just talked about it. I think it was in the MinnMax Council Patreon exclusive podcast we did recently, but we both have come around recently to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh my God. I had an Uncrustable
It's amazing that
the
they're
other
good
day.
for you.
I've never had one of those.
Delicious.
They sound good. I like
we
the
got
idea.
it from GoPuff, and I was like, this is absurd. We can make a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
And then I ate the Uncrustable. I said, you know what? I see why they make this product.
Is there
It's
a
special,
preparation
delicious
needed?
thing.
Do you have to put it in a toaster? Or
No.
You just eat it?
You just eat it.
Could you put it in a toaster?
You
Are
put
you
anything in a
supposed
toaster.
to? Are there instructions that say
freeze
put
them.
this in a toaster?
I don't think so, because the inside is the perfect, creamy consistency. You don't want to mess with it. You don't want to cook it.
Yeah. But I think, in general, it's like I started trying peanut butter like 4 years ago, somewhere in that
Trying peanut butter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then it became like, oh, this is good. Now I'm just going to do the Tim Turry and shove a spoon in there and
Yeah.
just treat it like a
Crunchy?
little
Get
cute
crunchy?
lolly. Oh, as crunchy as possible.
Okay.
Oh, big time.
Perfect. Yes.
Love me some pulp. Love me some crunch.
Okay.
Just pack my food full of as much stuff
the same
as possible.
time?
Oh my God. Some crunch
Throw
balls?
some pulp into that peanut butter?
Hell yeah. Stir it out. But it turns out I've been an idiot. But like, I was talking to Suriel about it in that podcast. But like, I think I've had under 3 PB&J sandwiches in my life.
To date?
Yeah, to date.
I have them every
Well, I
day
have a
for
special
lunch.
surprise for you, Hanson. Bring it out! We have a
It's
peanut
coming out of the
butter
washing
jelly.
machine. Here we go.
A fourth one.
I would wager I've eaten maybe more peanut butter than any other food in my life.
Water.
Shut up.
Okay.
Water's
No,
not a
probably
food.
out of actual food, probably peanut butter, like cheese.
By weight?
Sheer
Volume.
calories of peanut butter more than anything else.
Well,
Calorie dense.
Yeah, calorie
It
dense.
is.
Calorie
But
dense.
every day for lunch, I have a peanut butter sandwich. And jelly, I barely ever had as a kid, but I did start having that a couple years ago. That is good. First thing that comes to my mind, though, is coffee. I was never a coffee guy. I was always a soda in the morning guy forever. And lately, we got one of those like Nespresso machine things, so it makes it easy because I still like the science of an actual coffee machine with the beans and filters and water. I have no idea how anything works.
I think you actually need a doctorate to figure it out.
Yeah, it seems very complicated.
I have a guy who comes to my house every morning.
Yeah,
He drives from Connecticut with his truck just to help. Yeah.
No, Bianca showed me the Nespresso machine we got, and you put a little pod thing in there, you press a button, it fills up your cup, and you drink it. Although I put cinnamon toast crunch creamer in it. And it's so every morning I do a thing where I just drink a little bit of coffee. Lately, I had the best morning ritual for a while there. I was putting together the Lego Batmobile, the big like 4,000 piece one.
Ooh,
So
were you
every
listening to the 1989 theme?
just the bat dance constantly. Just sipping on coffee, putting together Legos, and I would watch an episode of Ted Lasso, and I did that for a while as I finished the Lego, and I was like, this is a delightful way to start the day.
Yeah.
And now I'm done with the Lego, so I do Sudoku puzzles and sip coffee and watch TV. And
Makes you feel smarter slamming that coffee.
it just feels like a nice way to start. And I try to do it before I like grab my phone and start doing the rounds, like checking the Twitter and all that crap.
What are people screaming about right now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like so before I get to that part of the day, it's like this is some Dan time.
Well, I would guess like, that's crazy to have that much caffeine in the morning, but you have an IV drip of Mountain Dew, so it probably didn't affect you like caffeine-wise as much as you
I've
think.
completely cut down on caffeine stuff. I'm actually reading a book about like the science of sleep now.
Okay.
And so
What are you playing with down there?
Something fell. It's a piece of equipment, and where is this?
You're just planning on holding it
tell anybody.
Kind of. It's just flopping around down there.
just rest it on
there
the
we go.
milk
We're good now.
wafers,
We're good. No, so I realized like the fact that I was drinking like, probably like 8 caffeinated sodas a day and like 4 non-caffeinated was like screwing up a schedule. I was reading about like the half-life of caffeine and how like the half-life is like 5 to 7 hours. So if you drink one at like 7 o'clock, you've still got half of it in your system like post midnight. And so that's screwing up my sleep. So now
There's
I'm
your
trying to
episode 3.
What's that?
I said late at night. There's your episode 3.
Late at night, there's your episode 3.
It's
Half-Life.
It's a freaking
A video game joke.
stretch. Leo
Okay,
nodded. Leo's the funniest one here, and he nodded a little bit, and I will take that.
All right, yeah. You just loop that for a while.
I'm
like-
also the most generous person.
Damn it. So I'm trying to just have my coffee in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I have a Coke or Mountain Dew with lunch, then I'm done for the day. So caffeine, I'm just cutting down. Alcohol later, and that helps you sleep. So I'm sure
Yeah.
that's a
Okay,
healthy way to
Dan,
go
we
to
got
sleep.
it. Jesus, we got it.
Okay, let me pull up my MyFitnessPal and tell you my calorie breakdown.
Suriel?
I feel like I had a similar shit around with coffee. Like I feel like I went the other, like just the complete opposite direction of like I don't drink anything that isn't like super sweet or like just terrible for you. But now it's like I have cold brew black coffee. Like that is my thing. It's just I don't like putting any sweetener or anything in it.
Yeah.
I think I also came around to like really bitter types of beer. I think is IPA supposed to be super bitter? Because I feel like the more bitter it is, the better. Because I think I started
That's
off
what they
with
say.
like I hated beer because I like it doesn't like it tastes terrible.
Well,
so
yeah.
like I started off with ciders and stuff. And I was like, okay, I think this is where I'm at. Like I think these are my favorite types of beer. But slowly,
Yeah.
I feel like I just started getting into like more and more kind of bitter types of beer. And
Now
stuff,
you're a big
so.
stout man.
Actually, yeah, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
We used to have a show called MinnMax, Dan. Where
Yes,
Suriel
I've seen
would,
some, yes.
taste things. When we rekindled it at the end of a stream that we did recently for Perfect Weapon, where because Suriel beat this impossible level in Perfect Weapon, we had a bonus episode of MinnMax. And so I just went to go raid my fridge to find stuff to feed Suriel with his eyes closed. And for some reason I had Old Wisconsin. It's like a non-alcoholic beer. And so I gave it to Suriel like a little baby bird. And I'm like, all right, Suriel, guess what this is? And he's like, I know it's a seltzer of some kind. Like you could not taste any beer in it, which is amazing. Like the best guess was like some sort of flavor of seltzer that's bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like the only purpose of that stuff has to be for like recovering alcoholics that just like are
Right.
weaning off. Like that is that the main stated purpose of non-alcoholic beer? Because it does not make any
Not
sense.
the stated
otherwise,
purpose,
right?
but I know people who, a friend of the show, Dave Clapp, when he was sober for a couple months there, just to, for his health, he would like drink non-alcoholic beer at parties, and I was flabbergasted by that choice. You could have like a milkshake. You could have things that taste good.
Yeah, there's so
doesn't
calories.
seem like a
in
healthy
non-alcoholic
alternative.
beer.
I've stopped drinking any alcohol, so I've just decided to get really into milkshakes. Just have that.
Seems like a pretty good life. I mean,
Basically, the
I
same.
want different health problems.
Doreen Clyer submits a question over on Patreon and says, what do y'all think about bosses being able to heal themselves? Let her finish. I typically find it cheap and that it undermines the specialness of being a player character. It can also make already long boss fights really drag out and make the combat boring.
as a result.
Hang on.
Sorry.
What's happening? Do I have a ghost? Guys, do I have a ghost? I don't know.
In the washing machine, maybe.
Yeah. We're still working up our in-person rapport.
Have you guys met?
Sometimes I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen him for a long time.
It's the worst. There's
Yeah.
absolutely not. I think it was like Lords of Shadow or something had some boss that would like step on these panels and recharge them. And we're just getting furious about it.
It's not fun for anybody.
No, there's no benefit. Like there are a few things in games that are just like they only serve to annoy. Like I don't know anyone that likes it. I feel like escort missions are kind of one of those things. The tail the guy but not too close missions, like those. And I think bosses that heal themselves. It's just like I don't know anyone that likes these things.
And like I'm used to it from Pokemon. Like the Elite Four constantly using those potions was always just the most infuriating thing. Because it's like, okay, it's not even a battle now. It's just who has the most items and how many items does this stupid computer have? It's just an absurd, non-fun way to fight.
Never do it. Does that count though? Like, let's say in a Twisted Metal, when there are health pickups around the map and enemies can pick them up.
That feels different.
That's different than one that has an ability to where it's like, no, I'm filling my health meter again,
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like you'd give a pass though if it was a boss and to like check out this form. And now their health regenerates fully. Does that count as healing?
If it's a second form of a boss and
That's
they get another
checkpointed.
bar. God, what was I playing recently where like you could swear like, oh, this is the last. Oh, I was watching my sister stream Sekiro.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's a moment in that where it's like, oh, he's back.
Always
another,
those.
Yeah, I
another
think
health bar. Yeah.
The only time it's acceptable is I think when it's kind of conditional. I think like if there's if he's doing this thing and if I don't destroy all the points in the thing or like all the points in the arena where he might heal from, he'll heal. Like if I don't do this thing, he's going to heal.
Or if I shatter this vase or whatever, he can't get to the magic health.
Yeah. In those cases, I guess it's fine. But if it's just like he's just passively healing health and there's nothing you can do about it, that sucks.
Yeah. Leo, I noticed you're drinking out of a little bottle over there.
Oh, baby bottle?
Getting my
What do you
health
got?
back.
Oh, no, it's just a normal bottle.
We do have something
Maybe
else
you could
for
drink
you.
from it.
Stop him from healing.
If you want to drink from your normal routine, we understand.
What am I doing?
Thank you.
What is this?
This is very comforting.
What are we doing with this?
This is Leo's mug from prettygoodprinting.com. They ship this out, so there we go. It's like you're right at home. Empiric Unicorn writes in and says, "Hey, MinnMax gang, how about a round of skill tree dilemma? If you could choose between the following skills in real life, what would you want?"
Wait, the decal's on the other side.
All right, would you want... All right, you have to choose between these in a skill tree.
Yes.
In real life. It's appearing in front of you, like a Dead Space thing.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. Leo, you could... Any door you open can lead to a bathroom, or any tap you use can produce whichever beverage you want.
Wait, can lead to a bathroom? What does that mean? Like if I need to pee really bad?
There's like a
I
10% chance any door you open will be a bathroom.
I think it's like Monsters Inc. Magic Door. It's just like, I need a bathroom right now. Here's a door. Or like Beetlejuice drawing with chalk on the wall.
Okay.
Like, open it up.
That's nice, but hang on. What is the phrasing on the other one, the liquid?
Any tap you use can produce whichever beverage you want.
Can I count like Beverly Hillbillies oil as a beverage?
You have to drink it to prove to the gods
If I
that
can
you're
drink
actually
some of it
serious.
and cash in the rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's called Texas tea.
That's true. Okay, I'm going to go with that.
All right.
Absolutely, the tap one.
Yeah.
Where am
Yeah.
I in a place that has doors but not a bathroom?
That's a good point. And it's usually not that, like there are times where it's like, I can't find a bathroom, but
Right.
it's not that often. Whereas like if I could just be like, oh, I can have orange juice or Gatorade or a beer.
milkshake.
Yeah.
Old
yeah.
Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Always plug in USBs the correct way on the first try, Dan, or always know which way to turn a screw or bolt no matter what angle it's placed. Ooh. Small scale, but this is good.
That is
Definitely USB because that's something I do far more frequently.
I think I would absolutely choose the other one because I always feel like an idiot anytime I'm doing something handy anyways. And so the idea of like, at least I know confidently I'm not messing this up.
I feel like an idiot whenever it's like, if I have to like unscrew, this happens a lot more now that I have a house where it's just like, okay, I got to unscrew, if you can tell I've had a house for not very long. I have to like unscrew like a toilet thing to install a thing or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, oh wait, I'm upside down. So would clockwise be, and I always have to like get on the floor and look straight up at it and be like, okay, that's counterclockwise.
Lefty
that way.
loosey. Got it. Yeah. Suriel, would you rather always wake up well rested or people always answer your phone calls, messages, or chat straight away? It's pretty good.
I think wake up well rested.
Really?
I think is
Yeah.
a really strong option. I think they'll eventually get around to my emails or whatever, but like if you wake up in a poor enough condition, your whole day's just shot.
Yep.
But what if you got like, who's your favorite celebrity? Queen Piper or whatever her name is. What if like you got some contact with a celebrity and you reached out to them? They would respond right away. Like no one could ignore you.
Oh, so like if you can tweet at anyone and they respond right away? Like anyone?
They say phone calls, messages, or chat. Chat? Is a tweet chat? I don't think tweet's chat.
So you can like
Messages is
tweet
direct
at the
messages.
president, the president has to answer him right away?
If you find the president's phone number, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the Twitter account.
Oh.
Wait, does it include tweets?
I don't think tweets count. I think
Okay.
that
Then
doesn't
I
seem
would still
like
have to figure out, that person's phone number. And that still feels like an invasion of privacy. And like, let people have that.
And I don't know if it's like annoying for them, like I'm being compelled, and then they automatically hate you. So the only thing they're responding with is like, I hope you like lawsuits, buddy.
What if the response was always LOLK?
Okay.
Regardless of what
Fun.
you said.
I hate when people respond to me right away because then
There's
what,
pressure
you're
for
calling
back
me?
and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Calling
like
me
that
an
existential, like,
for
we
taking
could
so
just text for the rest of time if he's this fast about it.
I think
This
just
conversation might never end.
For somebody that has to line up a lot of scheduling and stuff for MinnMax, I think I would absolutely choose that.
Imagine anyone that has to work with like an international, like, if you work for Sony and you got to work with Japan, and it's like that really throws everything off, you know?
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Is there like a bag by your feet, Leo? What is that noise happening? No, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a giant mug from PrettyGoodPrinting.com. Okay. Just something was making noise
Trying
over
to do
there.
more with it visually.
Why is that here?
It's a briefcase.
Yeah.
The
Line is it
here.
anyway? No, somebody's making noise. I feel like there's like a shopping bag that someone's futzing their feet with or something. What is that? Is that just the floor itself?
That's my Birkenstocks on the floor.
I knew I shouldn't have put a
ASMR.
shopping bag floor in the new studio. Anyways, Dustin Limp, welcome to the new era of the podcast, by the way. What's making that new sound? Sometimes
Unlock
it's
new
Suriel.
sounds.
Okay, Dan, let's just say this is for you. This is Dustin Limp writing in saying, it's time to play rapid fire of sorts with the cohorts and Dan.
Okay.
For the following words, phrases, acronyms, say the first thing that comes to your mind. For example, if I say rainbow, Leo would say,
Pride.
there it is. All right, ready to go, Dan?
Yes.
Favorite box art?
Resident Evil 1, the tall box.
That weird guy?
Yeah, I don't know why that's the first one. It's certainly not my favorite, but for some reason that's the first one that popped into my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy's like, with the weird face.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't even think about or talk about that.
Well, stop talking about it.
Why
It's
is
weird.
that my...
You should
No,
talk
it's
about
the
that
Metal Gear Solid
therapy.
2 box art. That's the correct answer.
It looks very
The one
nice,
with the Shinkawa art, yeah.
Strange enough, my favorite for a long time was the Burnout Paradise one.
Also a Shinkawa.
Oh, with
That's
the,
right.
with the palm tree.
Yeah, it looks cool, like the
it is
silhouette of the
cool.
car,
The white,
yeah.
yeah.
Cheese?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your word association.
That's the first one that came to
Bring
mind.
it.
GOW.
God of War.
Oh, not Gears. Interesting. Fighting game.
Mortal Kombat.
Paul Rudd.
40-year-old virgin.
Okay. Call of Duty.
Black Ops.
Lance.
Art? No. Lance Uppercut? Well, what is that from?
Lance Uppercut?
Is that one of Homer's names?
I don't know. Max Power? I don't know what you're talking about. Graphics or gameplay?
Lance is Contra. Graphics or gameplay?
Okay. Barbecue side dish.
Oh, fries or baked beans?
Vita.
Bad.
Minnesota.
Great.
Mobile gaming. MMO.
Nope.
Podcast game.
Returnal.
Oh, there it is, Dustin. Thank you. Jonathan12 writes in and says, hey, everybody. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
How you doing? We're here.
What's up?
You can press pause on us. How else can you play with us in fun ways?
Just watch this in 5 times speed, so it sounds like we're talking slowly.
Right. Wait, 5 times?
0.5 times.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, well, you can have fun. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, Jonathan. Anyways, when is the last time you came across a game that you had not really heard other people talk about before and that you really enjoyed? A hidden game, you could say. For me, it was Creeper World 3: Arc Eternal, a wonderful tower defense RTS where you are up against slow-moving liquid. What? Okay, yeah, game that you haven't heard other people talk about that you enjoyed.
Recently, Roblox Survivor, of course.
Oh, that's right. And what's the real name for that again?
Outlaster.
Outlaster. I saw somebody check that out, or they're happy that you talked about it. There's buzz out there, Leo, for your Roblox.
They're talking about it now. I'll just say that. But The Escapists recently was like, how has nobody suggested this to me? This is so the type of game that I like.
It is.
It's very, systemic, clockwork world, you know, the routines you're going on and the little ways you can poke at it.
Right,
Really interesting
right.
Have
game.
you played Streets of Rogue?
Really?
Yeah.
I adore that game.
Oh,
It's
I
one
was
of my
going to say,
favorites.
when I was thinking of the Escapists, I was like, oh, that seems like something you would like.
Yeah, for
okay,
sure.
yeah.
That game's awesome.
Yeah.
Really, bro? You're going to come at me asking if it's Cheese around?
I thought I talked about it a comedic amount or something.
Oh, no. I was just playing it and I was like, oh, Leo would like that. Okay.
For sure.
Hey, Leo, were you on that episode of New Show Plus where we're checking out just random Steam games earlier this year?
Really early this year,
Okay.
yes.
Didn't we play Cruelty Squad there?
We did.
And we're like, what is this weird thing? And now it's like overwhelmingly positive and it feels like it's one of those indie darlings of the year, but it's fun that we just went into it like cold, right?
Yeah, somebody just recently in my chat said that was like the best sniping of the year. And it was like, you can do that in that game? It's not just a random screensaver of weird stuff happening?
Yeah, I just watched Donkey's videos, so I kind of got some ideas, but yeah, it seems insane. Mason Parker writes in, Dan, which is better, Mario Kart 64 or Diddy Kong Racing? And before you answer that, I want you to slowly turn around and look at the poster behind you, just so you know what kind of territory you're in here.
I've played both of them recently.
Okay.
If you would have asked me this 6 months ago, I would have said Diddy Kong Racing. I played Diddy Kong Racing fairly recently. I still stand by it is a way more interesting world and everything about like there's boss fights, there's like a hub world, all that stuff. The music's incredible. The actual racing itself, and I did the planes, did the hovercrafts, did the carts, was not quite as good. And I think I might like Mario Kart 64's courses better.
It's the ghost of Diddy.
I would have to pick Mario Kart 64, not by a lot. And again, it's only because I recently played some Diddy Kong Racing and it didn't feel great.
All right, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
my God, Diddy on the poster just grimaced at you. He just frowned.
Oh my God.
It's like when they take a Kirby box art from Japan to the US and he gets angry eyebrows.
You're going to rip your face off like a guest on Oprah. Hey, Morn writes in and says, hey, Minners and Maxers, my question is simple. What game has the best grass?
Snake Eater?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh.
Ow. Wow. I hadn't thought about that. I mean,
Bendy. You get down there looking first person.
it's a lot of, that grass really being in your face. You get to mirror it.
You were there. Still, one of the funniest things I ever saw Andy McNamara do is complain about the controls in Snake Eater trying to like poke out of the grass. Do you remember that issue meeting where he was describing like, to get out of the grass, I gotta hold this and this and this to kind of poke up a snake and look up like this, and it's crap.
That's Andy McNamara?
Yeah.
That's the most Andy thing. Yeah. Did you watch him, by the way, at the EA Play pre-show?
That was a weird moment for me because he did the pre-show.
Yeah.
And so the first guy that hired me in the industry is doing the pre-show, and then he tosses to a man from a totally different industry,
Xavier
Mr.
Woods.
Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, who I work closely with now in a completely different context.
That's so
Seeing
funny.
Andy toss to Woods was just like, that's so, I would have never guessed to see this. And so I actually was texting with both of them after that, like, this is a weird small world thing.
Yeah.
So
And I wonder if we have that poll, like, who's looking hotter in this stream? I think Andy might have won.
I saw a lot of people talking about Andy.
It's like the internet had like a sexual epiphany seeing Andy McNamara, which is not something that I would expect. But hey, 2021's a time for new eras.
Good for Andy. He seems to be doing well.
Good
there.
for Andy.
Yeah.
Of course.
Grass. Yes, grass.
I mean, Grounded is doing interesting things with grass. You can cut it down into stalks, carry a bunch of them, craft things with it. Interesting usage of grass. But I think for me, nothing is going to beat Ghost of Tsushima, which is basically a tour around a bunch of different color palettes of pretty grass.
It's hard to beat that.
That's pretty high up there. I was thinking Breath of the Wild.
It's good.
But you can't cut the grass in Breath of the Wild, right?
I think patches you can.
Is that right? I'm trying to remember. It's been, I'd argue, 4 years, but...
Or maybe I'm just thinking I'm playing some Skyward Sword now and I'm cutting grass in that.
Yeah. Or maybe you can cut it, you just can't find rupees in it? Something like that?
I don't remember. I've
think
been watching
so.
my dad play Breath of the Wild when I was back in Kansas.
Yeah.
It's, I didn't think I ever wanted to play Breath of the Wild again just because I played it so thoroughly when it first came out. But man, watching him play Breath of the Wild and discover things, and like my dad talking about how it reminds him of like when he was a kid in like the early 70s, like discovering the woods and stuff and finding
When he found
things.
that cave that inspired him to create Zelda,
Yeah. But no, it's like to hear my dad who's not a big gamer being like, wow, this is really bringing me back to like being a kid and discovering things walking around. Like it's just like, man, this is some powerful stuff here.
That's amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. He texted me today about it. Wow. He tried to call me while we were recording with a Breath of the Wild question and said, never mind, figured it out.
Do you think he's going to beat that lightning boss, though?
That's
gonna be tough.
The problem is he didn't think he needed to use the map, and I kept telling him, Dad, you're going to want to use the map in this game. He's like, I'll be fine. I eventually got him to start using that. Now his big thing is he gets these spirit orbs because he loves the shrines, but I'm like, Dad, you're going to want to go get hearts and stamina. He's like, he just ignores that. And he's ignoring getting new armor ever. I keep trying to tell him you're going to need to upgrade your health, you're going to need to get armor, and he's just like, I'm fine. It's like, you're fine for now. You're going to run into some trouble here.
All right.
So,
Jason Wojnar writes in, very related question. Did your parents ever try to play video games with you as kids? For some reason, the only game my dad had any fancy for was Crash Bandicoot 2. Once every 2 months or so, he would come and play only the first 2 or 3 levels, and then that'd be it. He'd never want to save. He'd just repeat those first couple levels for literally about 15 years. Occasionally, we'd throw in something else for him, but it just would not click. I love that. He just loves the little polar bear. He loves that snow stuff. Very into it. What a weird move.
My dad would sit 3 feet from the TV and play Burnout 3.
Nice.
And we'd play
Really?
multiplayer. There was a time when I
Nice.
couldn't sleep and I just came up to talk to my dad and he was like, "You want to play?" And we played Burnout. It was the best night of my young life.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
And my mom's side was she secretly pulled me to play You Don't Know Jack,
Oh,
which was
smart.
like, above my age rating at that point because you could screw people.
Of
A very
course.
violent,
Yes.
crass thing to do.
That's right.
But that was a special thing we shared of like, oh, let's play. No one else is here. Let's play You Don't Know Jack.
And that's why you do feel like the perfect fusion of Burnout 3 and You Don't Know Jack. Like that is your fusion
Yeah,
of
that
genes.
describes you perfectly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chris Prohaska writes in and says, in honor of the console release of Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's time to play Simulator the Game. I've combed through Steam and paired real simulator titles up with fake ones. It's your job to guess which is the real one and which is just a simulation. Suriel, no looking at
I'm trying not to look at your screen.
You cannot look at this.
Wait, these are titles of games, and we have to decide which one's real. and
Which one's real?
I wish there was some sort of washing machine I could look at.
Don't look at that washing machine either. All right, Leo, which is real and which one's fake? Potion Craft, Alchemist Simulator, or Witchcraft Witch Simulator on Steam?
Witchcraft Witch Simulator.
Incorrect.
Stupid.
Potion Craft is the real one.
Sorry, you guys.
That's really embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's,
Dan,
Yeah.
Space Cowboy Simulator or Space Ninja Simulator? Which is the real game on Steam?
Space Cowboy Simulator.
This is embarrassing. We don't deserve to do a video game podcast. It's Space Ninja Simulator is the real one.
Shameful.
I expected it from me, but from you?
Yeah, I agree.
Suriel?
I'm trying to look at this TV. It's just not the same.
Yeah,
it's bad
okay.
reflection.
I can
Redeem
see
it here.
Leo sort of.
All right, Suriel. Poop on 2020 Simulator or Pooper Scooper Simulator?
These are both so tempting. The 2021.
Now Suriel gets it. Now here's a capital G
Yes.
gamer. Hell yeah, way to go.
Respect.
I can now recognize the table too.
Oh, good. Reflections, everybody.
Yeah.
Try them out at home. Barry McCann, simple question, powerful responses, asks, favorite anime?
I don't watch a lot of anime, but Bakano has been my favorite.
What is that all about?
It's very asymmetrical storytelling, kind of jumping around all these different stories and characters surrounding this one train heist in the early 1900s. But it plays with like spoilers, but you find out like certain characters have been alive for hundreds of years, and then you get a flashback episode of like where they came from.
Fun. What is it with
Interesting
you in
stuff
this
like that.
Knicks era that you never stop talking about?
I was born in the wrong time, man.
Yeah, no good.
I should have died in surgery in 1905.
Dan, it bums me out that you might not say Dragon Ball.
No, My Hero Academia.
That's amazing.
And possibly like behind
Great
that
show.
would probably be Evangelion, and then I think probably Dragon Ball after that.
Okay, Dragon Ball Z specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
An idea I had written down, by the way, like one of these nights while you're visiting here in Minnesota, it's like, I want to watch the 12th Dragon Ball Z movie with you at some point.
Is that the live action one?
No, it's Fusion Reborn, if you remember that one, sort of, if you've ever seen it. But I think I showed you a clip of it before, but it is bananas.
There are reasons specifically that he wants.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane. Suriel, what is the best?
I think it's probably Cowboy Bebop. I know it's kind of like a basic I'm into anime, but I don't watch all the shonen stuff kind of answer. But I went back and rewatched all of it recently, and it holds up so well. I really like it.
It is cool.
My Hero Academia is probably rising up pretty quickly.
It's
in my
very
rankings.
good.
I think it's
Very good.
All right. Sean Mason says, hey, CLCs, my 25th birthday is a few weeks away. Growing up, I loved having my birthday party. Some of my favorite parties I had as a kid were a big sleepover with a lot of friends driving 3 hours from New York with my dad and a few friends to watch a Mets game at the Shea Stadium and going to Laser Gate to play laser tag. With that said, what are some of your favorite birthday parties / memories from your childhood? Magical time.
My mom once told me that she was taking me and my friend Charlie to Worlds of Fun, which was the amusement park near Kansas City, which is about 45 minutes away from our house. And about 2.5 hours into the drive, she was kind of looking at me being like, hey, so Danny, what are you excited for Worlds of Fun? I was like, yeah. She's like, you don't think anything's weird right now? That's usually 45 minutes away. We've been driving for 2.5 hours. We're halfway through Missouri. And I was like, no, I'm excited. I can't wait to ride the Timberwolf. And and then she's like, okay. And she kept going. My friend Charlie was starting to suspect stuff. Turned out that night, this was in 2000, it's my 16th birthday, Monday Night Raw was there, and she got me to date my best tickets I've ever gotten. Ooh. And so I was like ringside, peak of like my teenage obsessive years. It was incredible birthday.
Oh, that sounds nice. I'm a simple man. I think of like my greatest birthdays as like, this would have been maybe 10th birthday, something like that. I remember we got like an ice cream cake from Dairy Queen, which nothing beats it.
Best.
Yep. And then rented a Nintendo 64 and got to play Mario 64. I was like, okay, as somebody who didn't have that, like that was just a dream come true. Beautiful time. But also, this is weird, but I was thinking about this recently. Like, I remember on my 10th birthday really being stressed out about, like, 2 digits. I'm so old. I'm going to die. Like, I remember I had, like, a midlife crisis when turning from 9 to 10.
That's like so funny.
Octo life crisis or something.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it would be. Yeah, but I just remember being like, no.
That's your mom. Mom, what is even the point of anything if I got 2 digits?
Yeah, and I had my mouth full of Dairy Queen ice cream cake, and I was playing Mario 64 for the first time, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna die.
This is fleeting.
Sean Mason just submitted that question, as we all recall. But Crystal Keyframes Animation says, hello, MinnMax. What, on average, is the best part of a video game? The beginning, the middle, or the end? And they say we all have to come to a consensus.
Middle.
Great question.
It's middle question. Because the beginning is usually a little too loaded up and like, here's the world and the characters and crap. And the end, a lot of times, overstays its welcome. And you're ready for it to be done. You want to move on to other games and stuff like that. But the middle is, you're in the groove. You've gotten the upgrades and stuff like that. You kind of know the different things you can do gameplay-wise. And you're still having fun with it. I would say the middle.
But at the same time, you're getting in the gameplay groove. But I think it's usually the least interesting sections of the game. They try and front load it with some interesting stuff, and then the finale is inherently interesting. I think I'd go the end. Like the vibes you get coming up at the end of a video game of like, okay, this is your last chance. If you go in this door, it's going to be the end. Like it's just so exciting compared to the middle. That's the doldrums.
But I'm like checked out at that point. Like, I'm playing, I was playing Ratchet and Clank, and like for the last like 2 weeks, I've been to the part where it's like you talk to the guy and it's like, oh, this is no going back, or you got to get all the collectibles now.
Yeah.
And I haven't beaten it just because I was like, well, I want to kind of platinum this thing or whatever. But I don't really kind of care to finish it. I'm just still want to run around doing weapon stuff and everything. I don't need to see the conclusion to the story,
It's going to blow your mind when you see it, though.
No, it won't.
I also feel like middle is like the most amorphous part of it, where it's like the middle could be anything, like Dan collecting the collectibles. Does that count as middle, or is that the end? Like, I feel like middle has the most leeway for like whenever
so it wins because it's
I think so, because it could be so much more.
The question of middle is, are most games good? Because it's like the core gameplay loop is what you're into, right?
Right. And they say on average is the best part of a video game.
Like better than the beginning and end of that same video game.
Yeah, I guess so.
Interesting. A lot of games have strong beginnings, put a lot of resources into it because that's what everybody's going to see. Yeah. But I don't think that's nearly the majority. I think the beginning is out.
And there's always like that development fable, the legend of like, or just practice, I guess is probably a word for it, of like, okay, you make the first level last. So your team knows all the tools well, knows what the game is, and then go back and make that opening level so you can really make that one pop, which is an interesting idea. But it is usually either lore dump or spectacle. Like, depends on the style of game, right?
It's the most, I feel like it's so lopsided. I kept thinking of the Metal Gears, and the Metal Gears have very defined like beginnings, middles, and ends. I think 2, as much as I love 2, that the tanker, that's probably the best part, right? I think the middle's probably the weakest of 2. Yeah. 1's the strongest. I love the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, but you're not really playing a bunch.
I feel like that, Metal Gear Solid 2 feels like it's the opposite of your argument of like the beginning is really strong,
exactly,
the ending is like
There's
incredible.
a reason they don't call it Metal Gear Solid 2.
Nice.
It's not. We don't. Everybody, Leo, don't applaud for that. Just don't. I know that Discord. No, seriously, don't. Seriously, try not to.
Drink your mug.
No, Leo, no.
Loophole. Damn it.
But at the beginning, it's also the most exciting because you're seeing new things, you're learning. Everyone likes learning.
No, I think about like God of War, the newest God of War.
Yeah.
I was not super into that game. That's a long game.
Right.
The first like 8 hours, I wasn't super into it. And then like in the middle, when it's like, oh man, this keeps going and there's so much cool stuff and I'm like getting all this new armor and these new abilities and everything. And then the end was really good too, but I feel like that there's a big stretch of like 40 hours in the middle of God of War that I was like, yeah, this is it's hitting its stride, you know?
I think ending.
I don't see the endings of any games that I don't love the middle of.
That's
just not the way I play.
In order for the ending to be good, you have to see
love
it.
the middle.
Right.
So the middle has to be.
Okay, so is middle taking it?
I think middle.
I say middle.
Okay, there you go, Crystal. Giving it to the middle. Victor Pham writes in and says, does criticism need to be eloquently or meticulously conveyed to be valid, or is it fair to just say a thing is dumb or bad? The floor is yours, Jan Reichert.
100% fair. I've said this before, but it drives me nuts. There's something about games criticism where you're not allowed to say something's bad. Or it's like, this happened all the time. I would say something on Giant Bomb about like, yeah, this game sucks. And everybody would get mad and be like, well, that's subjective. It's like, well, of course it's subjective. Like, that's me saying I think this game sucks. And it's like, but
is it that or just the tone that you're saying?
But here's
it with?
the thing. You can say that with 1 million movies and no one bats an eye. Like if a movie,
we're not professional movie critics, though. Like this is our passion. Is you're supposed to be eloquent about this field.
But I don't think I need to be eloquent. I think you just need to state. I think you just need to say why. Like if you say a game is bad, at least say why. Like I don't like the combat. Like it's bad because the combat sucks or whatever. Like
it had a middle,
I think
and I don't like
be
middles.
that simple.
That's the thing. I said Red Dead Redemption 2 and Death Stranding suck, and then I also explained in great detail all the time why I think they suck. But people still get mad if you just say a game sucks, and it's like, well, of course it's a subjective opinion. I've never understood that.
Yeah.
There's no objective. Like some people might love that. I know you love Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Like, so for you, that's a great game. For me, it sucks. And both of these opinions are true.
I've seen that discourse come back lately of like, just say you don't like something. That doesn't mean you can acknowledge something is good while not liking it. And it's like, no,
I don't have to acknowledge Death Stranding is good. I think Death Stranding sucks. I'm not going to acknowledge it's good.
And I don't think Red Dead 2 is inherently a good game.
But it's just, it's all subjective.
Yeah.
Who gives it's an opinion.
When you say something's good, that's an opinion. Nothing is just good.
As someone who likes Death Stranding, I think that's totally fine to just like.
So Suriel's bad.
Yeah, okay, there we go. That's not an opinion.
Why am I bad?
You're always asking
What do you
that.
think of my combat?
His combat sucks. I can kick his ass really easily.
Sorry, did you have another part to that sentence, Suriel? Or?
No, I think that like I think the reason people get annoyed at that stuff is that like there are certain games that always feel like they come up and then like, you know, if you listen to a podcast or something and people always are just like disagreeing with you about that game. Like for like if I don't know, is there a game that we're kind of famous for not liking? Or liking too much. Like I feel like if that just becomes the current of like the only thing we mention about a game is like whether that it's bad, and that's like okay, moving on. Of like at every mention of this game, we just say the one thing and then we move on. I think that's when people get annoyed. But in terms of like talking about the game, I think saying as long as you're able to say I don't like it and here's why, I think that's just like the basis of all criticism is like at least saying why. That's maybe the baseline.
Yeah, Origami King. I was thinking of recently. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, what it seemed like your eyes were lighting up for games. That
when I was thinking of games that like you guys, I don't know who all loves this forever. Or it might just be you. I feel like the love for Final Fantasy VII Remake here is like way. Like I think some people like that game a decent amount, but I feel like you guys were. Did you give it Game of the Year or something?
Honestly, yeah. To be fair. I wasn't fighting for it for Game of the Year. I said why I love it, and then Anna came out swinging hard, and she also loved it, and I feel like that tipped the scales.
I feel like just from what I've heard through osmosis about you guys and everything, I feel like that's the one where it's like, oh, I feel MinnMax and Final Fantasy VII Remake is like way beyond the usual, you know, the consensus on that game, you know?
You're not going to say anything bad about that game right now, are you?
I enjoyed my time with it. I was so tired of it by the end. I asked Bianca about it because she beat it and was not hot on it by the end. And I said, okay, if I'm at this part where I'm climbing some big thing, how much time do I have left? And she's like, you got like 5 hours left. I'd already put like 50 hours in. I was like, I don't want to spend another 5 hours with this game, so I just stopped playing.
Yeah, it's your problem, man. Mark Ramirez has a little nice comment saying, the world needs to know that the Lord of the Rings commentary tracks from MinnMax are some of the funniest MinnMax content. I've almost been in tears laughing so hard. If you don't have access to the exclusive podcast on Patreon, up your tier, says Mark. Isn't that nice, Leo?
I was enjoying the Two Towers one on the way here.
You were listening to it?
I was.
That's funny.
The Idaho bit was very funny. Looking for MinnMax listeners in Idaho.
We were searching through the analytics. Look, it's freaking Two Towers. So what are you going to do? So like in the middle of it, we like went through trying to find, how many listeners we have in Idaho, and went through like all our analytics, and it was like 0.
During a commentary track?
It's Two Towers. You can only talk about the Riders of Rohan for an hour and a half, and you got to keep going after that.
Well, you had to split the time up between the towers. You spent the first half talking about one tower.
Yep. Thank you for listening to that, Leo. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We're doing a Return of the King soon with Ronnie, and it looks like at least one of the E3 Kings will be joining us. Jeff Cork will be jumping in, so it should be a fun time.
Nice.
I liked the bee stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'll tell Jeff that tonight too.
I hope you like bee stuff, because my basement has been swarming with them, Dan, and you're going to sleep down here tonight.
My dad's place? Oh, yeah. He's got wasps.
That's right. Ben Van Houten says, do you ever experience free time paralysis, where your free time feels so precious because it seems like you have to squeeze all of your recreation, socialization, relaxation, etc. into a scant few hours a week? How do you break out of it, especially with something as big a time investment as video games?
That's tough.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that. And sometimes it's a matter of not being motivated to play like any games at all. I know certain ones I would have fun with, but I'm just not feeling that pull.
I think the easiest way to kind of break that is to acknowledge that you kind of just don't want to play a video game. Right? It's like of thinking, I'm not really like clicking with anything, and then you just realize I just want to watch TV. I don't want anything that's like I'm not in the mood for a video game right now.
It's a YouTube clip and beer kind of night. Yeah.
Yeah,
I so rarely have any free time these days, and so my thing that I've just defaulted to anytime I do is find some kind of podcast type game where it's just I don't need to think. I've been doing this with Ratchet, and then I just put on. I downloaded this like 400 episode playlist of 80s Letterman, and I'll just put that on over there. And because that was growing up, I would just watch Letterman have a game on or something that. And so I'm just kind of recreating that with stuff before my time. And so it's just playing games, watching Letterman. That's my free time thing I do whenever I get it.
You had dual monitors back then?
I had my computer here, and then I had my little CRT over there. So I'd have Dave and Daily Show and all that stuff on over there, Conan, and then I would just be playing games and doing stuff over here.
It makes for a really boring Twitch stream, but I guess you know how to do it. You're blowing up on Twitch, so this is cool.
Just watching old Dave.
Just off screen.
Telling chat to shush.
I actually do just wind up at like 3 a.m, like yelling at the youngsters about like, let me tell you about please stop calling me Chief. This old Dave do you remember that?
No.
Oh God. I'm describing it, it won't be as funny. Mm-hmm. But he would
I beg to differ. Everybody get ready.
He would go to Rupert's Deli. Yeah. And no one ever talks about this, and I think it's the funniest damn thing in the world. And there are always tourists out there just wanting to get on Letterman's show. So he'd bring the camera over there, and Letterman would talk through through the camera. He would pull a tourist in, and they would not know that they were on a game show called Please Stop Calling Me Chief, which had its own theme song and everything, which is just Letterman talking to a tourist through a camera, being like, how's it going, Chief? Doing pretty good. It was like some 18-year-old kid. It's like, yeah, where are you from, Chief? I'm from Florida. How long you been in New York, Chief? It's like, and so the only way to win was to say, please stop calling me Chief, but no one knew that. And if you said it, you won a big platter of a deli tray from Rupert's Deli, and no one ever won the game show. Letterman just called people Chief for like 3 minutes.
That's really good.
It is still unthinkable to me, Dan, that you have not gotten into Larry Sanders. Like, as somebody who
watched the documentary you told me about.
Yeah, the documentary, but like watching that show, like that show is so great. It's nothing but just late night drama. It's so up your damn alley.
I actually, after I watched the documentary, I watched a few episodes, and I intended to do more. But again, the free time is precious.
But you should just keep trying to keep going.
Good.
It's some good 90s nostalgia. I like Rip Torn is like one of my favorite characters of all time on that show.
I think I would like that show a lot. Yeah. I should watch that.
Absolutely. Did you watch the second half of that documentary yet?
I watched the whole thing.
Oh, did you? Oh, I missed you watched the first half.
No, I did the whole thing.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, so everyone's happy here at the table?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Everything's fine.
I can find, Hanson, when you give me the hard pitch on something, you know my taste pretty well.
Right,
you gave me the hard pitch on the Jinx.
Yeah.
You gave me the hard pitch on that Larry Sanders thing.
Yep.
I feel like whenever you're serious about something like that,
Here's something weird that I've noticed. Let me tear you apart. No,
sure,
I've heard you say that exact thing to like Mike Mahardy on Fire Escape. Mm-hmm. Like you repeat yourself a lot. I think
I do. I hate that, but yes.
But I've noticed there's a pivot that's happened where I feel like I was always your go-to for like, Hanson's so weird. Look how weird he is. And
That
maybe
too,
just
still.
I know, and I don't want that attention, to be clear. But like on Fire Escape, I feel like Mike has become the new Mike. You're so weird. Look how weird Mike is. Or like when you have the PAX panel, like
It's a different kind.
I know
of
it's
weird.
totally weird.
It's
but I feel
a
like
very
you
different
need
kind
your
of
like
weird.
weird punching bag a little bit. I feel like yeah.
I like knowing weird characters, and they can be weird for different ways. You're a very hard to describe weird.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's endearing.
Oh.
But you're fucking weird.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
man. Thanks. You enjoying that podcast still?
The Fire Escape?
Yeah.
Making Fire Escape? Yes. Yes. It's a podcast I make. Yes. Yes, I'm having a blast with it. It's
Cool,
incredible.
man. I'm happy to hear that. Dr. Bob Buell, MD, writes in and says,
congrats.
Howdy, cohorts and Mr. Reichert. It's time to play America's fastest growing game show sensation, Earthbound Enemy or Ska Band.
Oh, God.
So in every matchup below, one option is the name of an enemy from the Earthbound game and the other is the name of a ska band. Can you guess which is the real Earthbound enemy?
I'm not looking at your screen now.
Thank you. Leo, Sonic Boom 6 or Mighty Bear 7? Which is the Earthbound enemy?
The second one.
Correct! Dan, Kung Fu Monkeys or Urban Zombies?
Which one are you asking me?
Which is Earthbound?
First one.
Incorrect. That's Urban Zombies. Suriel, Master Blaster or Robo Pump?
Robopump.
He says Robo Pump. That's correct. Leo, which is Earthbound? Psychic Psychos or Stubborn All-Stars?
Stubborn All-Stars.
Psychic Psychos is Earthbound. I'm sorry. Dan, Ego Orb or Rude King?
First one.
Ego Orb is Earthbound?
Yeah.
Correct. God, I wouldn't have gone that way.
Look at the washing machine.
Make you happy. He's happy. Suriel, high school football heroes or new age retro hippies?
New age retro hippies.
Correct. Leo, pie tasters or manly fish's brother?
Mainly Fish's brother is Earthbound.
That is an Earthbound enemy. Suriel, French kiss of death or choking victim?
Choking victim?
Gross. No, French kiss of death is Earthbound enemy. Have you ever seen this art?
I thought you were going to show me someone choking to death.
No, it's called The Dream of the Fisherman's Wife. It's this famous Japanese painting that's made by like the same artist that made like the classic wave, like the Japanese painting of the wave. That's iconic.
Yeah.
He also did this other art.
Yeah, he did.
Very heads
he
up,
did.
everybody. This is
Yeah.
not safe for work if you want to Google this at home, but like it is bonkers with an octopus and a wife.
Oh, that's what's going on.
That's what's going on.
Good
Isn't
God.
it absurd?
Yeah.
But it's like from the 1800s. It's just wild.
Jeez.
Yeah, don't Google it at home, everybody. Hey, that's it for community questions. What do y'all think for question of the week?
I liked 2D or 3D with those Nintendo ones.
The very first one.
I like that.
Okay. I mean,
That was good.
it's good. I like the food we used to hate, now we like. I like the
sure.
skill tree dilemma, real life skill
Skill tree's
tree.
good,
Yeah.
I mean, the beginning, middle, and end is one of those good, simple ones that I've never considered before.
We could do a whole podcast on beginning, middle, and end.
I know.
Yeah, I like
too
that
late?
painting.
Okay, you like the fisherman's wife streams painting. Okay. All right, Dan. I mean, you're the guest. You get to choose who gets.
I feel like
Spinch.
last time I picked one, you gave me crap for my
I'm
pick
not.
too.
I promise I won't give you any crap.
I'm fine. I think beginning, middle, and end is good too.
So you're going with beginning, middle, and end.
Is that? Are we doing a consensus or are we doing?
I'm
what?
letting you fully
Do
pick.
that one.
Pick a crazy one.
2D, 3D.
God, you're terrible at this, Dan. But congratulations to VRG. You win question of the week.
What
so
a
I made
comeback
it.
story. We almost didn't even read it.
I know,
That's
you're
amazing.
right. Yeah, we'll
Congrats.
ship out that grand prize. Way to go. Now it's time for something we like to call Get a Load of This. Leo, I want you to want us to enjoy your Get a Load of This.
Get a load of this. Perhaps the most important get a load of this I've yet brought.
Yeah.
I'm always watching movies, whether I've downloaded them, streaming them, watching them on Blu-ray, whatever. Characters speaking another language, no subtitles. Am I supposed to be seeing subtitles?
Yeah.
And I thought my Shark Tank idea would be I'll make a website where you can look that up. And that website does not exist, and it still could, but online there is a Google spreadsheet that I don't know who is running, who fills out or whatever. It's currently at about 1,000 movies, and all it has is what type of subtitles there are or are supposed to be, like whether they're hard-coded or they're separate, and what scenes you're supposed to be seeing subtitles in.
for like every movie.
I think it intends to be for every movie. Right now it's about 1,000.
Wow. Very good. Love it. Dan, what do you got?
I have long been trying to remember the name of this show that I watched as a young child. And I thought in my head, it's like, I remember watching the show religiously. I thought it was about two guys that got sucked into a video game or something, not Freakazoid. And I was like, what was that?
Reboot?
And no, it was something way more obscure. Because like, I would Google this and couldn't find anything until I'm now officially becoming an old man who's just following like everything 80s and 90s kids on like Instagram and stuff and just nostalgia stuff. And I saw an image of it. It's a bunch of like, oh, I remember eating that Slimer thing, or it's nice.
It feels like an unhealthy area for you to go into.
It's nice nostalgia. I like it. One of them was a picture of the NBC Saturday morning lineup, and it clicked into place. It was a show called Chip and Pepper. And if you look it up, it is the most aggressively 90s thing I've ever seen. 1991, it was on NBC's Saturday morning lineup. It was about, I've watched the intro. If you Google it, there are full episodes on there. At least watch the intro.
Yeah.
It is about two cartoon bulldogs that got sucked through a portal out of their cartoon and turned into California surfer dudes who are being like tortured and chased by a cartoon orange. But they also host a variety show. It actually has nothing to do with video games. I thought it did. But yeah, they like, it's so weird. They come out and there's like a live studio audience of children, but there's also like a wall with a bunch of holes and like gloved human hands coming out that they high five that are just disembodied. And it's just a wild intro to the show.
All right.
For Chip and Pepper.
All right.
Yes.
There we go.
I'm gonna love that.
All right.
I think it is interesting though, like in the Dan 2.0 model, it's like you got a house, you're like getting older, but then you're like really grabbing to your childhood in an interesting way in this phase of your life. What's going on?
Well, I've had the nostalgia, like I don't have nostalgia for games because I feel like all those games I've just kept playing since I've worked in games and stuff. So it's like, I don't have nostalgia when I play Mario 3 because I play it every year, you know? So it's like kind of this other stuff that like, like, oh, I found my old Pogs and things like that, kind of that type of nostalgia that I'm like, oh, okay. It's fun to just kind of scroll through a thing and see like, oh, Urkel cereal. I remember eating that, And or no, the ultimate one is I shipped back all of my, now that I have space, when I went back to Kansas about a month ago, I shipped back all of my old gaming magazines.
Yeah.
So I've been going through like old Game Pros and AGMs and Game Players from like 1995. I sometimes go through them on stream with a document camera.
Oh, that's
and it's
fun.
like, it's fascinating because that's what I grew up on as far as like, that's what made me want to go into games coverage, which boy, you read some of those magazines now, it is really something.
Burn it all down.
I've been fascinated by a caption. I've been repeating this line a lot lately. It's any Tomb Raider coverage from 90s gaming magazines is, you can imagine. One of them was just a screenshot of Lara from like Tomb Raider 2 climbing up a thing, and she's wearing her shorts, and the caption was, "If only we could be those shorts, we could die knowing what true happiness is." And I just can't get that phrase, "if only we could be those shorts." I think about that phrase a lot now.
Do you
be
think
the
about,
shorts.
Instead of like, be good, have fun, let's go?
Just be the shorts.
If only we could be those shorts. Yeah. I don't know what it means in 2021, but I just like saying, if only I could be those shorts.
Yeah, it really says it all. Anyways, you got
Just say it
something?
is some sort of truism whenever it's like, if only I could be those
Just
shorts.
be the shorts. Sir.
Yeah. It's like, I broke up with my wife. Yeah. It's like, man, if only I could be those shorts.
Say la vie, be the shorts. What does say la vie? Does it mean be the shorts?
It mainly does, yeah.
Yeah.
Seize the shorts.
Suriel.
Yeah. So here's my recurring series of out of context tweets, which only has one other entry. So this is from Super Mario Broth.
Good account. Mario
Broth blog, which if you don't know is basically this repository for Super Mario Brothers trivia. But I like that this is the second tweet in the thread, which I love encountering tweets this way. It's just like I have no idea what they're talking about and you have to go do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
So they say, regarding the previous tweet, I hope this small science-themed departure from my usual content is acceptable. I simply thought the extremely similar sizes of human DNA and GameCube games were notable enough to be documented. Regular content will now resume.
What?
God's
How
work.
does that work? GameCube games?
So here is the context. Human DNA has an information storage capacity that very neatly fits the size of a GameCube game.
Yes.
Thus, it would be possible with gene editing technology to store a copy of, for example, Super Mario Sunshine inside the human genome. Details in image.
Well, you should do Twin Snakes if you're going to do anything.
I'd go Sunshine. If I had to make my DNA a GameCube game, I would make it Sunshine.
That's fantastic. Jesus. Well, mine are dumb, but hey, get a load of this. I don't want to get political or nothing, but dear friend of the show, Grant, pointed something out to me recently. I can't unthink it, but he's like, hey, have you heard anything about this Barron Trump fella recently? Like Donald Trump's
Isn't he like
son?
7.5 feet tall
He's
now?
6'7". Wow. It's last time I saw him was like in 2016. He was like awkwardly standing back there, like, I guess we won.
Yeah.
And now you look at photos of him, and he's just Sasquatch walking around New York. It's crazy tall. It's absurd. Too tall for a kid.
That's is
he a kid
this guy is this tall?
Yeah, he's like 15 or something. Like
That's
he's
pretty
never going to
tall.
stop growing.
That's pretty tall.
It's absurd.
Wow.
I think he will eventually.
I haven't seen it.
Strong genes.
All right, yeah, cool. I had enough of this GameCube talk. Hey, get a load of this from the community. We have a channel in the community Discord which you get access to if you support us at any tier on Patreon, and people share new stuff all the time. It's the greatest news feed around. Nick from Atlanta posted something that none of us brought up, very shamefully, I suppose. But the Olympics opening ceremony, they kept playing video game music. Did you see this? Like somebody tweeted at me that they played Frog's theme from Chrono Trigger during the opening ceremony at the Olympics when people were all like walking out and stuff. So Nick from Atlanta shared the official list from the Tokyo Olympics of the video game music that they played. They played the Victory Fanfare from Final Fantasy, Edric's theme from Dragon Quest, Slay's theme from the Tales series, Monster Hunter music, Kingdom Hearts, Ace Combat, Winning 11, Sonic the Hedgehog. They played Starlight from Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know what this is. Gradius music, Nier music, Song of the Ancients, Soul Calibur music, The Brave New Stage of History, Dan.
No.
The Saga series. So, hey, representing some good music from
the
Japan.
DK rap?
I thought it was a bold move, yeah. Composed by Grant Kirkhope. Non-Japanese man. But hey, gotta get in there. That's it. Thanks so much, everybody. Let's see. Things to plug. Yeah, The Deepest Dive on Dead Space. You can check it out on MinnMax's YouTube channel. If you support us on Patreon, you unlock the podcast version of those discussions. They're very fun, as well as all the other Deepest Dives and the commentary tracks for Lord of the Rings. A bunch of other stuff. We had a bonus video go up talking about the best way to speak into a microphone from a radio professional. It's kind of a fun, quirky thing. The Patreon exclusive podcast, MinnMax Council. Suriel and I spending 2 hours answering fun community callers.
I had fun.
I had fun. I hope the community did too.
I hope you will too.
That's right. Dan, what would you like to plug, man?
My three main side things there. I got the Twitch, the three main side things. Twitch.tv/Dan Reichert. I stream at least a couple times a week, a whole variety of weird stuff that I'm having a lot of fun with. We got Panning the Streams, podcast I do with my wife Bianca. We watch stuff on streaming, movies, and TV, and we talk about it. And the Fire Escape Cast, that is my video game podcast with Mike Mahardy and Mary Kish. We do it every other week. It is a nice, long, loose conversation that is... we always bring it around to video games, but it's also very prone to tangents and things like that. But we have a lot of fun making that.
I've been enjoying it quite a bit.
Thank you.
It's like I know the vibe you're going for is like we want this to feel like a late night at the bars, and
It's just an actual conversation. That's it. I don't like to make it too overproduced. It's just like, hey, let's get on and let's talk, and that's what we do.
Leo, you want to write that down for MinnMax in the future? Actual conversation. Yeah, just write it on the big cup. Thanks. Hey, thanks to everybody at the Thank You Crew over on Patreon for supporting us at the $50 tier. You can add your name to the list if you'd like throughout the month of August or the next month after that. Nobody knows what it is. But thank you to Hello Hyrule Podcast, I Am 8-Bit, Fixture Gaming, Mirko Arico-Torreno, BeatenDownBrian, Zachary Pligge, Andrew Uerkwitz, Jawarhello, Mark Seliga, PrettyGoodPrinting.com, Connor McCabe, Ludwig Roque, John Higby, Best of the Rest Podcast, Andrew Vala, Logan Krause, SpiralInYourEyes, Drew Waranis, Clint Farley, Spider Dan, Purebred Number 6, Starkiller, Steve Bamdad, SlyckNic, Preetham Yarlagadda. Thanks so much, everybody. If only we could be these short.